So I spent a year in Colombia. But in Colombia,
where in Colombia did you live?
I was in Bogota.
Bogota.
You
Okay.
know, I was in Bogota, so you get a mix of all different cultures, parts of Colombia. But I was in Colombia, and I go into a pharmacy, and there's herbs there. It's like helps with your potency erections.
Yeah,
So
they got all of that over there.
I'm like, what? Let me
For no reason.
Bro, like,
there's reasons.
You go to like the fruit market, and then you just see like they're selling maca and damiana. So I'm like, let me try this.
These people do over here.
You know what I mean? So I'm like,
high levels.
let me try if this works. You know what I mean? And it worked. So I'm like, yo.
That's a lot.
And
So your 6 months turned into a year.
yeah.
And we're back. Your boy X, RPMX on everything social.
Castro Nero 88 on Instagram.
Money Mitch, 54X Mitch on Instagram.
And today we got a special guest in the house. Introducing the healthiest nigga you never met.
Bless y'all. Akeem Pierre. Akeem O Pierre on Instagram. Oh, wait. Akeem O .therapy on Instagram and Akeem Pierre everywhere else. And my company, Rich Soul Foods, on TikTok, Instagram, and tap in on YouTube too. I got a lot of information on there.
Boom, and welcome to Uncommon Sense.
Give thanks. Let's get it.
All right.
No snaps, no nothing. All right. yeah. Sorry. Tough crowd. It's all good.
I don't usually clap for people when they come in here. You know?
I usually give them a little
I
one
just
of
like
these.
hail them.
Like one of these. You know what I mean? Righteousness. So yes, tell the people a little bit about yourself. How did we end up in the situation we are in today? What do you do? What's your area of expertise? And who are you to the people?
So I'm a wellness entrepreneur and educator. I have my company, Rich Soul Foods, run retreats with Beyond Wellness Retreats. And it really just started following my path. I used to be a hooper, played basketball, and then I got injured. And then I just started to like go into the body and learn about the body. And then I dived into food and nutrition, meditation, spirituality, herbs, and which is like the most potent form of the foods. And then just really worked on myself to a point where like, what does high performance mean? It was really the question I was asking, because they're saying I'm a high performance athlete, but I'm hurt all the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, what does high performance mean? So I went down that rabbit hole and I did all my research, and then I found out that my family, I come from a lineage of healers. You know what I mean?
What's your background? Like, what's your
St. Lucian and Egyptian.
Okay.
So my St. Lucian side, like my grandma was a village healer, and my cousin's in the Caribbean as a healer himself. So I found out I come from this lineage. So I was just sharing content online, and then I discovered this. You know what I mean? And then I went to St. Lucia, and all the products, it was just like lined up. They already dealt with it. You know what I mean? They already had access to everything.
Okay.
Like, you know, studying Dr. Sebi, all that he was talking about like a long time ago. Rest in peace, Dr. Sebi. It was like something that was just a part of my family. You know what I mean? And when I was creating content, just sharing my journey, people were like, yo, we want to buy the products too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So initially it started off with you basically using the products themselves for yourself, and you were sharing your experience through the internet, right?
That's it.
And
Just
then
my
people started
experience.
resonate with that content and said, hey, can we get some?
Yo, I had someone call me, yo. He called me and said, yo, you're a gateway YouTuber.
Okay, explain what that
He
means.
said, you're a gateway. I'm like, yo, what you mean gateway YouTuber? He's like, yo, we come to you and you give us all the information, but but then we got to go find it elsewhere. And he's like, yo, I want to buy from you.
One-stop shop.
You know what I mean? And I'm like a guy, I was like, I didn't want to feel like I was making content. You know, nowadays it's common for like, you create content for money. You know what I mean? That's just like basic. But back then when I was starting like 8 years ago, I was like, I just want to help people. You know what I mean? But they're like, yo, sell me the products. Sell me the products. And then that's when I was like, I figured I had this family lineage, and it was like lined up for me to actually provide them with these products. And then that's really it, man.
Okay, so let me bring it back a couple of steps, because I heard there's a lot to unpack in there. That was dope though. You said, how long have you been upon this health journey?
This health journey, like,
let's just give us a rough timeline from, you said you were playing basketball, boom, boom, boom. What sparked off, like, all right, and you know what, even backtrack before that question. Are you plant-based?
I am now, yeah.
Okay, how long have you been plant-based?
Since 2016, so almost 9 years.
So 9 years, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And did the diet switch come in lieu with the health journey? Like,
After.
were they all in synchronicity?
No, that was after.
Okay, so yes, give us some time, because I'm like, bro, this could be a 4-year journey, this could be recent, this could be late, you know what I mean?
So what happened is I was playing basketball at university, right? And I was like, you know what, I don't even want to hoop no more. But I wanted to just finish my degree. So I studied abroad, and I went to Colombia. before the passport bros, all that. I was in Colombia vibing.
You and the passport bros are on two different missions. Two entirely different missions.
Before all that, you know what I mean? I was in Colombia, so I spent a year in Colombia. But in Colombia,
Where in Colombia did you live?
I was in Bogota.
Bogota.
You
Okay.
know, I was in Bogota, so you get a mix of all different cultures, parts of Colombia. But I was in Colombia, and I go into a pharmacy, and there's herbs there. It's like helps with your potency, erections.
Yeah,
So
they
I'm
got
like-
all of that over there
I'm like, what? Let me
for no reason.
bro.
No,
Like,
there's
you
reasons.
You go to the fruit market, and then you just see like they're selling maca and damiana. So I'm like, let me try this.
These people do fucking over here.
You know what I mean? So I'm like,
high levels.
let me try if this works. You know what I mean? And it worked. So I'm like, yo.
Man said a lie.
And
So your 6 months turned into a year.
yes, I stayed the whole year, and then they had to kick me out. I was playing. But it worked. You know what I mean? And then in Colombia also.
So hold
'cause
on. I don't mean to pause you. Was that your first introduction to anything herbal?
That was basically it. Like
That was your first.
yeah.
So you seen something that said, "Yo, this would be good for my body still," and that's what kicked it all off.
Well, think about it. It's like in Colombia, I'm looking at eggs, for example. Eggs are all
Everybody's-
brown eggs. You know what I mean? So I was like, what the heck? This is crazy. Then I was looking at the chicken tasted different. The beef tasted different. All the fruits were different. So I was like, yo, I'm just expanding my mind to all these different things. And that was just at the fruit market, you see it too. They just see it sell the maca and stuff.
Yeah.
So just expanding my mind to everything. Yeah, I was like open. I was
You have to.
learning.
You have to be openly receptive.
You know what I mean? I was just learning everything. So that was the first entry, but I was already like experimenting with the health at that time.
So what do you mean?
Was that
Experiment?
because of the injury?
Yeah, that's because of the injury. So I was like, yo, I used to play basketball.
What kind of injury? Yeah, I was gonna say go into that.
I used to play, well, it was a knee injury, right? But I used to play basketball every game at halftime. I feel sick. You know what I mean? And it's like, because our coach made us eat pasta and meat sauce every game. I'm like, yo, halftime, I feel sick. After the game, I feel sick. I couldn't even enjoy the after party with the team and all that. So then I was like, okay, what am I eating? So I went and I stopped eating certain things. I stopped eating eggs, and then I cut certain things out. So that was the introduction. You know what I mean? And then when I went out there, I saw like they're just yelling on the street corner, soursop, guanabana, guanabana. I'm like, what the heck is this? It cures cancer? So, you know, that's what they say. That's what everywhere.
It's supposed to be stronger. Than,
Avocado. I hated avocado.
oh yeah.
I hated avocado, but it's avocado on every corner. Let me just try it. I gotta like it. They're so common. You know what I mean? So it was just like that. And then the herbs were one of those things. And then it was like, yeah, the maca and the damiana, those were like the two main ones. And in my university also, they have like in psychology degrees. They had like ayahuasca.
Have you ever done that?
I did in Colombia.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. Well, we're gonna go there. We're gonna go there. But
So like that was a whole other thing. Is like in psychology, you go down this medical route, or you go down this like psychedelic route. Do you know what I mean? So it's all areas of my life, just expanding it and learning. Really,
word. How was your ayahuasca experience in Colombia?
it was crazy, bro. So
Walk us down that. Walk us down that.
So first off, they tell you got to do all this detoxing and cleansing, go plant-based. That was the first time I went plant-based was for ayahuasca. So I went plant-based and cleansing, doing all that, like, you know, no sex, nothing. And I was doing it with a family. So it wasn't like the tourist thing where you're doing it with all these tourists. I was doing it with the family. And I remember I went to the bus stop to meet them, and I met one of the aunties, and the auntie was sitting there just smoking. I'm like, yo, aren't we doing ayahuasca? And so I was just like tripping out because I didn't.
What
really,
was she smoking?
She was smoking a cigarette.
Okay, go ahead.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I thought we were supposed to detox. So then we take this bus like up this hill into like this back road and into this like this native land and go into a teepee. I'm not speaking Spanish that well at this point. And you know, there's singing, drumming, all that. You know, whole family, like the grandma, parents, and aunties, and then children too. Like I did ayahuasca with like 8-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Getting them spirits right from young, bro.
Believe me, like 8 and 10 years old. I'm like, what? And took it. You know, it was potent. It's like
How'd it
strong
taste?
drink.
How'd it taste?
Strong.
What did it taste? Like, give me an equivalent. Cause I done had some bitter herbs in my life. Like, you know, like, was it a bitter taste? Is it a
It's bitter.
bitter?
Yeah, super bitter. Super bitter, earthy, and yeah, it's not good at all.
And
How
how?
much you gotta drink?
You drink like about this much, you know, a little bit more, and then took it, and then I sit down, and then this cat comes sits on me, and I didn't like cats at this point, but this cat, I was like nervous, you know what I mean? Took ayahuasca, you know.
Just drank some shit in the bush. The
cat knows.
Like, yo, I can't even-
There's a cat.
The cat knows, man. The
I
cat
can't even
knows.
speak, you know what I mean? I can't even speak no Spanish to them. I was like very basic with them, you know what I mean?
That's it.
Vamos. And then this cat sits on me, and it was really relaxing, you know, like grounded me into like that session. And then I didn't have no crazy hallucinations. Like I couldn't say like I was like super tripping hallucinations.
Did you purge?
Quick, like in
So-
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I just went out and I just started throwing up. And it's just like this beautiful land, like one of the most beautiful places I've been in. I'm just throwing up, and I look up. I'm like, damn, it's beautiful. Yo, this is the most beautiful place. Like, you know, it was so epic. And then I didn't purge, like take a bunch of shit. I didn't do that.
No.
I
Well,
was
you
just
also
throwing
remember
up.
because of the detoxing. I imagine that your vessel's like relatively
This
empty.
was before the detox. This was
Oh,
like,
didn't you have to prepare though?
I did, but I was just eating fruits and
Oh, okay.
things like that. So I probably had a lot of that still in me. But
Valid.
I just threw it all up because
Yeah.
a lot of them, they were, you know,
Shitting
but
themselves.
just yeah.
The little kids are throwing up and all that.
Everything, fam, it's a release.
By that time, I can't.
I don't know, little
I
I
kids.
don't
wasn't-
even know where the kids are at.
Yeah, like, I wasn't hallucinating, but I wasn't there. You know?
Wasn't paying attention
What
to
did
these
you
niggas.
feel?
My biggest thing that I came away from that was like a connection to
Source.
source, to life, and
Y'all link up.
gratitude. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that was like the biggest thing. It was like a level of gratitude and just like it's like beauty. You know what I mean? That's what I felt. Like I felt love. I felt that beauty and that
Yeah,
connection. So
that's very important.
yeah, that was like the biggest thing. So that night, and then I actually took another dose. You know, they're like, "Yo, you want some more?"
Like fuck it.
So you know, I was like, "Yo, I'm here. Let's do it." So took another dose, and that would be the main thing. It was just like, just that overwhelming joy.
What's the
overwhelming
second
beauty.
dose do?
Just more beauty, man. just
more
more
beauty,
beauty,
nigga.
more love. You know what I mean?
Doubled it up, man.
Just doubled it up.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I was,
How long was the experience in its entirety?
probably 9 hours, 8, 9
9 hours.
hours.
And so do you have like a euphoria, like a sense of euphoria, kind of like lingering in the background after the initial purge
Yeah.
and thing? Okay.
Yeah, so
Because like I've discussed it on the podcast before. Like I did 5-MeO DMT before, right? And that's different. That's a lot shorter, but
Is
it's
that
supposed
the
to
frog?
be yes, from the Bufo various frog, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot shorter, but they deem it as like 5 to 10 times more intense. And don't get me wrong, when I smoked that substance, and don't get me wrong, you had to do the whole cleansing. I did Cambo, I did a bunch of other shit like in preparation for that. But yeah, I seen the layer, like I peeled back the layers and the veils on life. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I went to a place where time and space no longer exist, and we saw just oneness, bro.
Yo, this sounds crazy.
Yeah,
No, but
imagine
here's the
hearing
thing.
that, like from the other side of the room.
Nah, but it
like,
is
what
so
he
it's so
started talking
spiritually
about?
maturing, bro. Like I always tell people, I'm like, bro, like I understand why they tell people don't do drugs, because like, yo, you will lose yourself if you don't have the proper guidance, foundation, and like, but if you don't feel called, like when we're talking about these kind of substances, I don't even categorize them as like drugs. This is medicine, right? Because it's real cleansing, real like you feel so different after the fact in a positive way.
What made you want to do it in the first place?
Well, for me, it was I was interested because at that time I was doing my research into Buddhism, Hinduism, like Alan Watts, meditation, mindfulness,
Shout out
and
Alan Watts.
unlocking my power in my brain. You know what I mean? So I was in that phase of my life, and just having that ability to do it in a way that's natural. So I'm not going to. I didn't search for it; it found me. Like I had an opportunity where, like once in a lifetime type of opportunity where you're doing it with a family, you're going into their ritual, their space.
How did that come about?
It was because I went to this university, right? So ayahuasca in Colombia, from my experience, is something that some families, they just do. Do you know what I mean? So they just, it's very open and it's a part of psychology, like I was saying. So the one girl, she was a psychology student, and I was talking with her about it, and then she's like, "Hey, I have like an opportunity. You want to try with these people?" I was like, "Let's do it." But all the other international students, they did it with like where you go with a bunch of tourists and they just like have like a traveling shaman who, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it like that. I believe that it had to call you. I didn't want to, because it is medicine, right? But medicine is drugs too. It could turn to drugs in a certain use. You know what I mean? Like because they say fentanyl is a medicine. You know what I mean? That's like original use.
Technically, yeah.
That's
what
it's like, you know what I mean? Like, even if you look at a lot of the opioids, that's a medicine, right? Now,
Too
a
much
lot
of
of
it
people
becomes of it.
who actually are on the streets are because they took this medicine, right?
But
And
when
then
we say
now they
drugs, it's like,
become-
so I don't even mean to cut you off. It's just like my brain is going like when I differentiate between medicine and drugs, I look at like it can't like I get what you're saying, but in terms of like I do not deem anything recreation about like DMT in any of the form. There's nothing casual or recreational about it. So it's like I emphasize on the medicinal aspects. Like these substances actually that we're speaking on, like I'm pretty sure it's like impossible. They're not addictive substances.
Man, the crazy thing is like a lot of people they take it, they lose their grounding, and
Oh, they
it's
make
not
it
like they're addicted to
no,
it.
that becomes a personality. Now
And-
I've not seen that.
You know what I mean? And that's like because I had
It's kind of like a lot of things, though, right?
yeah, exactly. You know,
I'm trying to
but-
chase that high.
Yeah, when people wear
they've
weed
said
socks.
Technically, weed is not an addict. What did you just
I
say?
said when niggas wear weed socks and it becomes their personality.
Bro,
That's
stop.
what I was getting. No,
That's
no,
crazy.
he's keeping it real though. It's not an addictive substance, but clearly you've like embodied this.
Yeah,
you know what I
like
mean?
weed
So
sucks.
And
if you
since
could
we're-
do that with weed, why couldn't you do that with another substance?
Well, weed is actually has like a dependency, right? But mushrooms, for example, like mushrooms, you build up a tolerance to it very fast. So then you don't really get that feeling to it. So it's almost like it's built in to not be addictive. But like what I found, because I had a
The same could be argued for weed though. Smoke weed for the first time versus smoke weed for like 20th time. Like,
no,
buddy,
for sure.
Like, buddy, I took a
For
6-month
sure.
hiatus off weed, buddy. I smoked that shit. I'm like, ooh, this is psychedelic, nigga. The same week,
No, for
the same
sure.
day, like 7 days later, I'm like, well, I gotta roll another one, nigga. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
I feel like if people just like something, they might have a tendency to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's people that probably use mushrooms on a regular basis. There's people that smoke weed on a regular basis. They're not technically addicted, but they found what they like and they're gonna keep doing that.
Yeah, and
So
if you don't have a purpose or a reason, because I had some people that I knew who they'd go into these mushroom ceremonies, you know, these shamanic drum circles and things like that. And you just see them withering away of a human. You know what I mean? So next time you look at them, they're like their spirit's gone.
It's crazy.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They have like
I used,
their
niggas used, to pay,
spirit's gone.
niggas used to pay me to guide them through the mushroom thing. I used to make the mushroom tea myself. And, like I would guide niggas like, yo, I used to tell you, like, give me, if you're gonna do this, you gotta like listen to me for the next 4 hours at minimum. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You'd pay me a certain fee. I'll walk it through
The
yourself.
shaman.
Nah, I used to do that, right? And like I done see niggas' souls come out their body, and we have to give them jump start. Like, bro, go back inside, fix up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even like telling it because I got niggas that were there, or people that were there that they usually tell the story
man's
for me because they were like
casually performing
mind blown. They're like,
exorcism.
wait, what the fuck's going on?
You'll get back in your body, chill.
Not right now,
but
not
like
right now.
the withering when people can't like you can lose yourself in these states without a proper sense of grounding and like like self. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's very true. I was just that thought came when you were saying that.
What is your stance on drugs in general? So like even something like weed and using that recreationally, is that something that you do? Is that something that you advocate for, or are you against that?
My thing is this. Anything that takes away your power is something that I'm not going to advocate for. Right? So if you smoke weed and you have a dependency on it, and for example, for me, right? I used to smoke weed and I would depend on it to go to sleep. Right? So I'd smoke it to help me sleep. So I have that dependency in the back of my mind. I know I'm using this thing just because I can't go to sleep. And it's like, yo,
That's not cool.
you meant to sleep. Like, you're a human.
Checking yourself about nigga, you wanted to sleep. Why are you smoking?
Like, you meant to sleep. Like, your body is just naturally but you're taking a substance for you to get to a certain outcome or a goal. You know what I mean? So that's when I said, you know, I'm a stop on that. You know what I mean? I feel like anything that takes away your power is something that I'd say like step away from. But you could do it mindfully. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not against any of it. You could do it mindfully. You could enjoy yourself, you know, because I come from like a Rastafari lineage as well. So they do it spiritually. You know what I mean? But I just noticed within myself at that point, that's why I was doing it. So I'm like, let me pause, let me stop.
And by mindfully, do you mean like what exactly do you mean by mindfully? Just to like clarify for people that might be listening.
So you're not just doing it like, I just got off work, let me just do it for the sake of doing it. You know what I mean? It's like for some people, it's like helps them creatively. It wasn't helping me creatively. You know what I mean? When I'd hoop, some people they do it and then they work out. If I do it and work out, I'm like finesse. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do like yoga type. You know? So mindfully is just like ask yourself, why am I doing this? And know that, is this helping me or bringing me closer to my goals? Right? So is it bringing me closer or bringing me further? And if it's bringing you closer, then you're doing it mindfully. If not, you're like, no, this isn't bringing me closer, and you're still doing it. At least be mindful that's what it's doing. So you're not in a state of delusion of, yeah, this helps me be more creative, but I don't create while I do it. You know what I mean?
You know what it is? So
that
like,
was a good answer.
and it is a good answer. I hear what he's saying, but even in like, I like my brain is looking at the loopholes. Like, you know how many people tell themselves, for example, like when you mentioned it quite frequently, like back in the day in high school, where people were like, yo, I smoke before I study because it makes me study better or some shit like people lie and try to trick themselves
That's
into
a
But
believing
fact.
see,
certain
that
things.
person's not being mindful by the definition he provided, because he's saying not being delusional. Are you really getting closer
Like,
to
did
your
you get
goals
a
or
better-
No,
further?
but
you get a better
he's
mark.
that person that told me that, they're lying to me.
but they're lying.
they- but
They're
they
lying
know
to
within
themselves through you.
They're doing both.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, when they have to go and take that exam or do their homework or whatever task that they say the weed makes them better at, they know if that's actually true or not. And if it's not true and you're being mindful, then at least you know, like, okay, maybe I should stop doing that.
See, the thing about it too is like it's so subjective in the way, like there are overall qualities and traits that are like across the board. Like you might get the munchies, you might, your eyes may get low, you may be a little more relaxed, but like the substances themselves, they impact everybody so individually, right? Because I've seen people that like who like to smoke weed before they work out or do anything physical, for example. They're like, yo, it gets me locked in. Where I'm
That's
on
what I do.
right? I'm on the flip side, like, yo, buddy, all motivation to be productive in that facet of life, yo, yeah, we're
I
gonna,
can do that though.
See, I'm in the middle. Like, I don't feel like it makes me any better at doing anything. I feel like you're probably at your best state when you're sober. But if I just smoke a spliff and I want to go play soccer, or I have some time to go beat a workout, I'm gonna go do it. Like, I'm not deterred after I smoke the weed. It's still gonna get done.
Well, that comes with a level
You know?
of doing. That's why I say it's all subjective, right? Because I'm like figuratively, I'm sure we've all been smoking weed for a long enough time that, you know, say for would you say longer? Yeah, fuck it. I've been smoking weed since I was like 13, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
more than half my life. So.
yeah. At this point, so
Now,
I
question for y'all: do y'all all smoke?
yeah,
Now, do you take breaks?
yes.
no. Like, I
I-
have.
I
Okay,
haven't
hold on,
taken a break in a long
You know what?
time.
You know what? Okay, let
You
me
were
answer
so
better.
confident saying
Yeah.
that. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna answer
the man
this
to be
man's
honest
question and
over
I'll
here.
address you afterwards.
Because I was
What
going
do
to
you mean
refine.
you take breaks?
I've taken long-standing breaks in my life many a times. Do I do it actively? Like, there's times where I take breaks from physically smoking, right? So I bought a vaporizer. You familiar with the Volcano?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait. So much less explaining. For those that don't know, Google the Big Ol' Volcano. Anyhow, that's the healthiest way to consume cannabis in the last like 2 decades, right? I'll have stints of time or periods of time where I'll do that as opposed to like eat just to, you know, lighten up the load of the
That's
combustion.
the same.
But
No, it ain't-
he meant
I know what-
getting
I know what he
high.
meant. I know what he
You
meant.
found the
See what he's
loophole.
trying to do?
That's
See what
the
he's trying to
problem. He's part of the problem though. We're
I'm
just
trying to
talking
tell you
about-
niggas about it. That's
So
why
you
I
don't
really-
smoke, you vape.
Thank you.
That's why.
Man, yo, technically, nigga, everything I said is right because there's no smoke, there's no combustion.
Nah.
Am I consuming cannabis?
Well,
yes.
let's
It's
say
not
this.
right.
But in
You're
the
not
healthiest
right,
form.
fam. No.
Let's say this: I stopped smoking 4 years before I stopped smoking because I only vaped. I used a chalice where I'm like putting a
Yeah, big
charcoal
up,
on,
big
you know
up,
what I
big up,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? I have the
Righteousness.
volcano, you know? I have the
Ah, yeah.
volcano, and I have the Storks and Bickle, the mighty. So I take the volcano on the road.
Guy knows
You
what
I
is hell.
mean?
Yeah. Seriously.
So I take it on the road.
But when you asked the question, you meant getting high
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, 100%. I understand.
You knew that's what he was asking.
I was playing the game, nigga. Fuck you mean? Fuck you mean? You take breaks from smoking? Yes, I do.
Yo, I gotta walk away from this guy when we're in public settings sometimes, bro. Because the way that this guy talks to people, and I'm like, bro,
It might work on them though.
It works all
it
the time.
does.
may
That's why I
work.
leave. I'm not gonna expose the man, but I can't stand for it at the same time. So I'm gonna walk away. I just look at him and then I leave. That's all it is. It's
Crazy.
That's too funny.
It's crazy.
So that's
Okay,
the
you know
thing.
what? Let
But
me ask that-
intentionally, no, I don't take breaks. I have, but they weren't intentional. It was like either I was sick or
What's the
I went to
longest stint you've
Cuba.
gone without weed?
Fuck, when I went to Cuba,
How many days was that?
a week. But I was drunk every day, so it's like fuck.
You're smoking, so you're doing all type of things.
Yeah, I was wilding because I couldn't get the weed.
Cubans.
Yeah, I was going.
What's the
off.
longest you've gone without smoking weed?
A year.
A year? Yeah, you beat me. I did like 6 months.
Yeah, I did a year.
Yeah, that's solid.
Not by choice, but did a year.
The thing is, though, like I agree with the mindfulness of that. Like, you got to do what works for you. And if you're good, like some people really feel guilty when they bun weed, and really, I feel like, yo, if you feel that, then don't bun the weed.
I've always felt
Like, you're allowed to enjoy things. I've
like
learned this in
guilty
my.
bunning
You've always felt guilty?
No, not
you-
like that. I meant like I agree with the sentiment. Like if you're doing something that you recognize is shameful to the point where you feel guilty about doing the thing, why don't you reconsider? Like
Don't do it.
They're addicted.
like not doing the thing.
But yo, I think people are also afraid to like own some shit. Like, nigga, I like this.
That's,
right?
you know?
Because you know why you like with ownership maybe comes like you have to explain why. And like maybe you haven't reconciled why you like
You have
certain
to
things with
ex-
yourself.
You have to accept that you're a little bit of a degenerate.
That's
If you
fine.
Just sit there and say, I like
Exactly.
to get high.
I do.
Which is my valid reason. I don't. It doesn't make me better at studying. Okay, I'm not running from trauma, buddy. I like to get fried. Like, what are you talking about? You want me to sit
And
here?
that's mindful.
You want
That's what I'm saying. And I think
Why
nothing's
am I
wrong with
playing
that.
Pretend.
And you know, it's just like for me, like on the health side of things, right? Like if you are happy eating whatever food that you may not be healthy, that's better than you feeling bad eating this, like forcing yourself to eat healthy and feeling like bad.
No,
internal conflicts inside.
so. I like zoned off like 2 seconds. What did you say about the food? So
what
just
I'm
repeat
saying
that
is this.
sentence.
What I'm
Embrace
saying
your
is this.
fatness if you're
Hold on, hold on.
So you could eat poorly
Yes.
and do it with joy and happiness,
Yes.
right? And then there could be one person who eats poorly, does
Yes.
it with joy, happiness, and is like no stress in their body.
Right.
Right. Then you can have this other person who eats healthy,
Yes.
but they're so stressed. They're worrying about counting their calories. They're worrying about if this is good. They're
Right.
like, oh, this has a poison toxin in this.
Right.
The person who's eating healthy could get sick quicker than that person who's not eating healthy just because of how they're feeling.
For sure. The stress is definitely a cause of illness.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you, there will be some, like, whether stress or not, like, nigga, if you live off of refined seed oils and just highly processed food, there will be other things you have to worry about. Like the nigga that enjoys eating the fat fuckery food, he's gonna have to worry about love handles and high cholesterol. You know what I'm saying? Now the nigga that's over there counting his calories, he may not enjoy things as much, right? He may not enjoy the flavors of the palate.
Not the enjoyment, but there's some people who actually they hate what they feel like they're.
Well, you gotta find a healthy balance, but you
Yeah,
can't,
you know,
you can't hate
those
your
are the
existence.
That's hard, dude. That's
You know
a
what I
hard
mean?
way to
But
live,
you
bro.
relating to the people that gotta mask why they do some shit and be pretending and all that. You know
So
what
it's
I
like,
mean?
yo, if
So
you're
niggas
gonna
are being
do it-
healthy and don't want to be?
Because you feel guilty
It
about
looks
what
good on
you're
the gram.
doing. Is what he's saying. Now you compounded your problem instead of just okay, yeah, the food's unhealthy, but at least you enjoyed yourself. Versus you're still eating it and you're stressed. Jesus Christ,
You know what it is,
survived
though?
like
You know
this.
what it is? My problem with the niggas that's fat and unhealthy and enjoying themselves way too much is, yo, we don't know no balance, see? Now all of a sudden, I gotta accept you and call it body positivity. Like,
that's-
nigga, you're unhealthy.
Well, yeah, I think that's the next agenda. Like
That's like
hey,
the two extremes. But
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
But there is
other
no middle
people-
ground nowadays.
There is no. There
Just
isn't
accept
really.
them for who they are, man.
I'm not lying. Like, a lot of people on the internet were talking about, yo, like, you're fat shaming. You're doing this because, like, I just don't condone you, like, I don't know, with these unhealthy eating habits. And it's not because the food itself is like unhealthy. It's like, yo, the message and like, don't lie to people. Like, it's okay to enjoy what you. In fact, people that like, you know, people stress about like cheat days and shit. Like, I feel like exactly what you're saying, that added stress of the guilt subconsciously, that'll affect you. Like, in some way, you'll internalize that. If you're, just be okay with what you're doing, but learn balance and moderation. Like, you can't do 6 days a week, you're eating fucking Krispy Kremes and then get mad when you gotta eat the salad or, you know what I mean? And expect the results of eating 6 days worth of salad. Just
Yeah.
as, you know,
Or
name it.
Stressing.
Or the other thing is like sometimes you don't have access to certain types of foods.
Oh, yeah, healthy food's expensive.
Right. So for example, even like the alkaline, because I started on like the alkaline diet, Dr. Sebi wave. You know what I mean?
We're gonna go there.
So what happened is I had people who were reaching out to me who were sick because they weren't eating because they didn't have the food around them.
So niggas are just fasting.
So they're not getting enough nutrients. They're getting sick because of they're trying to eat healthy. You know what I mean? So my thing is this, like whatever you do, just make sure you do it with some good vibe. Like just enjoy whatever it is you're doing. If you're in a space, for example, where you are going through something in life and you are getting high for a certain reason. Yo, I need to it helps me calm my nerves, right? I just experienced some shit in my life. Let me just calm my nerves, right? Enjoy that shit. You know what I mean? Enjoy, like,
you gotta enjoy your drugs.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. So if you're in a place where you don't have certain foods, or, you know, say like you go to a family's house and something like that, and you eat you have like a certain oil, you know, it's like it ain't gonna kill you. You know,
No,
what I
you
mean? So
survived
just
before.
Enjoy.
Yeah,
just
that's
enjoy life. You know
So
what I mean?
I have a question though. So seeing as you are like very experienced in health and wellness, and you're an educator, like how would you like advise people to go about getting the right information? Because back to like people being stressed out about what to eat, what not to eat, there's toxins in this. Like if you go on the internet, there's so many conflicting ideas, you know? So where should people like get their information? How do you get the right answers?
Yeah, that's a good question. So one is I'd be very mindful of anyone who says this is the only way. Right? So if you find yourself on a certain page, Instagram, like watching on YouTube, and you're learning only from a person who says this is the only way, if you don't do this, you're going to cause disease, whether it's carnivore, whether it's like you're vegan, whether it's whatever it is. Like if you're listening to someone and they say this is the only way, then that's going to be the first problem that I find, because you have to listen to your body, right? So the best thing is find something, try something, see how you feel.
Yeah, that's I
trial
feel
and
that.
error.
I feel it is. There's an amount of trial and error, but I have so when you say listen to your body, some people don't know because they've never been in that state. Some people don't know what they're listening for. You know what I'm saying? So it's like like for example, you're 300 pounds and you're trying to eat a healthier diet. Now at first I'm like, oh, well, this healthy food's hurting me. It's killing me.
It's hurting.
So for example, right?
You know what I'm saying?
If you're overweight, for example, you have a certain goal where you want to lose a certain amount of weight,
Right.
right? So if you're listening to your body, did you lose some weight? Okay.
No,
that's
they were
working for
listening. It
me.
was hurting. They
But-
tell you like, yo, I'm hungry. I ate this salad. I ate these apples.
Right?
Yo, where's the fried?
So that's how you got to listen to your body, is are you getting the outcome that you're wanting? And it's like first order consequence is usually something that doesn't feel good.
I would disagree. See, at that point, I disagree with listening to your body, because I think that like your body will give out quicker than your mind.
So I don't mean listen to your body as in like this doesn't taste good, so I'm not going to keep eating this.
No. Go ahead.
You know what I
Continue
mean?
saying.
What I mean is like, say for example, right? For me, I wanted to not feel sick in my stomach before the game, after my games.
Right.
Right. So then I eat something different. I don't feel sick. Okay, there's something there.
Right.
You know, and listening to my body is like, yo, this was making me feel like bloated, making me feel sick, so my body was telling me something. You know what I mean? For example, like I experiment with things, right? So you figure something. So I tried smoothies instead of eggs for breakfast, right? I tried that. I'm like, I feel good. I feel energized, right? So I like to look at yourself as an experiment, right? So when you have an experiment, you set out what you want to do, then you set out a hypothesis of what I think is going to happen from this experiment.
Right.
And then you experiment, you play that experiment out and you see how you respond and how you feel from that.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm saying is, with all the information, right, you got to find something that initially resonates with you, try it, right? See it through for a certain period of time, 30, 60 days, see it through, right? And then some people, for example, when it comes to the alkaline diet, right? They're allergic to a lot of the foods that they say are supposed to be good for you.
Right.
So for example, chickpeas really mess with your stomach, but they say chickpeas are the good protein. You soak them, you try everything, right? You put the bladderwhack in there, sweet bay leaf, all that in there, you're still messing with your stomach. Stay away from the chickpeas.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now see what else you could replace that with. So that's what I mean by listen to your body. Like you gotta, and at first you're right? Because at first it's good to follow a certain path, right? Go down a certain path and then you're gonna learn for a certain period of time. Because if you start something day one, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna listen to my body. It's like you don't know what you're listening for.
You know what you're listening for.
You have no clue. right? So it's good to follow something for a period of time.
I
and
think,
then,
but I even think in regards to what he was saying, just to relate it back, though, he's like, "Yo, where would you even source the information to follow to go listen to?" Because like I hear what you're saying, and like even what you're saying off the rip, there's a level of like intermediate experience that's required to do what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. You're saying, all right, cool. Like that's someone is they're good with what they eat. They've isolated. And now they're removing and trialing and error. Right. You like that portion of what you've described. That's not day one.
Like, yeah, if you had to give somebody like some advice on day one, they're maybe overweight or they've got some problem that they wanna get rid of, and they go on Instagram and they don't know what to look at, where to start. Like, how would you tell that person to go and find, the information that they're looking for? Like, who's some reputable sources or something like that?
oh, like the actual sources.
Yeah, that's where the information comes from.
Yeah, wherever they could access
Like,
that,
yeah, exactly.
access that information. Like, how can people go from zero to, bro, I'm on my way.
Like, who did you look at? Like when you were?
I looked at Dr. Sebi was one. I looked at David Avocado Wolf. He's another one. I looked at, those were like the two, and I looked at this other guy actually. I forget, he's living in Hawaii though, right? I forget this guy's name, but this guy living in Hawaii. Those are the three people that I really looked at. And then I have my cousin Priest Kailash who was doing it. But those are the main three people. But what I did, for example, when I was like first starting, I just Googled protein-rich foods, right? And then I saw all these foods, and then I saw hemp seeds, and I tried hemp seeds as one thing, right? So one thing that I'll say, if you're just starting, right, what foods do you like, right? So whatever type of food you like, and then just try to find like healthy alternative. And then
that's a more fair answer.
Just try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like I can say, like, if you want to start, like, just start by drinking your water, remove processed sugars, remove processed flours. Like, those are like the basic.
But I think people need the basic. We can't overlook that.
Like,
We can't overlook that.
even that's
those
good
are the
because
basics,
So what's something that you like that you know, like, okay, it's not good for you, but you had to make a healthy alternative for it?
Man, I did everything like that. So, for example, when it came to chocolate, I love chocolate, right? I love chocolate muffins from Costco. I don't know if you remember those big muffin top. Like,
I know exactly those ones. I don't eat them, but I know what you're talking about.
I had to find a healthy alternative. So then I find the dark chocolate, right? And then even if it was like, what's a healthy breakfast? Like, really just Googling healthy breakfast. And then for the most part, like, that alone is gonna change people's, like, we complicate it at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
You know what it is? Because there's so much different schools of thought, right? I think that people like to source out all the different facets of information and then try to pick the one that obviously sounds the most correct to them. Just like there's a bunch of religions. Like, there's one life we live, and there's so much different religions to look at it through. You get what I'm saying? Same thing with the health. Like, do you have people that will say, yo, you have to go vegan if you want to live the optimal mucus-free lifestyle, right? And there's an amount of science to back that up. And there's an amount of study that would back that up, like Dr. Sebi's teaching, removing mucus from the body, right? But then you'll have, like, I've also seen in the same flip side where people say, hey, I've gotten sick going on a vegan diet. Whereas, like, you have the opposite extreme where niggas go on the carnivore diet, for example, and then say, yo, they've experienced a myriad of health benefits as a result of switching to this way, right? And so now you're faced like, well, what do I do? What serves me more, and where's the right answer? I find like people don't really know.
And there is no right answer. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, there's the basics: remove the sugar, remove the flour, remove processed foods as much as possible, right? Even if you just start with that alone, if we just do that alone, you really don't need much else. Like, if we're talking about healthy,
I agree.
Like, it's that simple.
I agree. You know what, too? Even with the thing, because they say even in Italy, they consume a lot of pastas and breads and dough and all that, but they have some of the healthier people, right? They have good water over there, which I know the source of water in which you consume from, that will have a large impact on the population that
also
surrounds.
the ingredients that they use when they make the bread.
Yeah, everything's fresher, right? Everything's not refined and everything's not
Different type
super
of
heavily
flour.
processed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so
Even
we
like-
complicate it to a degree where you feel like you have to find this answer.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, don't try to find someone that's gonna give you an answer. You know, it's simple. Like honestly, it's so simple. I tell people, you already know the answer. Just ask yourself. Anyone listening to this, you're trying to get healthy. What do I think I need to do to get healthy? I guarantee you know at least 5 things you can do to get healthy.
They probably do.
Like,
it's a fact.
it's
but
simple.
I've noticed, like when you go on the internet, it's almost like you ever been a like Cheesecake Factory? You see how like the menu's huge. They got like 50 different items,
Now
and it's
that's
like
when it's the
almost like,
problem.
yo, bro, what do I choose? There's so many options. I gotta have this, that, or you know. So I think they call it like analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
People just end up spending more time researching than
They're making a
practicing.
movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So even if you could just bring it to a simple form, like, hey, off the top of your head, what are like 3 things that would be healthier than what you're doing right now? I guarantee you a bunch of unhealthy people have that answer. And it just requires them to simplify it and take action. Do one of those things.
That's it.
And-
And do one of those things. And I'll just say this: do one of those things once a month.
I say it more consistently, bro.
No, I'm saying this. What I'm saying is this: for one time a month, you're gonna implement a new health practice. So you're gonna do it for the whole 30 days, right?
Oh, that's what you're saying. Build on it.
Build on
Okay, I
it.
got
So
what you're
don't
saying.
try to be like.
I
so
thought you meant
for
like do the
example-
practice once a month, and I was like, no, nigga needs to show up a little more than that.
For example, right? Because we complicate health so much. So if it's just like this, I'm trying to get healthy. Okay, I don't drink water. Let me just start drinking
thing is,
water
though, you
for
can't
30
even-
days.
You can't even blame people like to a certain extent because they're also born into a pre-existing system that has you conditioned to look at health through a certain lens. For example, like we definitely overcomplicate it, right? Even when you look at fasting, for example, or like when we lose our appetites when we're not sick, it's literally your body telling you, yo, bro, I don't want to eat right now. I'm doing things. You get me? Whereas humans are like, yo, you're not eating. You should be eating. You know what I mean? And then so now we want to feed you, or like, oh, you should be consuming. And don't get me wrong, there's a logic of like you need to refuel. You need food for energy, and then so like I guess that energy is going to apply to you healing. When like the practice of fasting is like your body does the most healing when it's completely empty, right? When you're in a state of autophagy and a state of removal is when you actually heal the most. So it's counterintuitive, right? People when people get a headache, instead of drinking water or thinking, hey, what am I doing or what am I consuming? People are, you're way more conditioned to have a quick fix, band-aid the issue or band-aid the symptom. You're going to take a Tylenol, an aspirin, or an Advil, whatever your flavor of painkiller is, right? And you've literally been conditioned like this since I don't know, if you were born here your entire life, or if you're from other, like, I don't know, that's just kind of the common school of thought that I find most people take. People trust the healthcare system with their health more than they trust themselves with their health.
And also, they don't really care about being healthy. That's the other side of this whole topic, right? They don't care enough about being healthy.
You know what?
I think people think
I think
being
They just want to
healthy.
solve that one particular
But like,
problem.
see,
that's
healthy
in
is
their way.
subjective.
I
so
think
we-
healthy costs money. That's why they think it's so hard.
No, I don't even think that. I think if everybody had the choice to be quote unquote healthy, you would. I think everyone has varying degrees of where they're okay with healthy.
So I think a good question to ask you is, what is healthy in like
Oh, great.
by
question.
your definition?
So my idea of healthy is thinking about where you want to, like thinking about what health looks like to you and on that journey. So just being on the journey means you're healthy, right? So healthy in the root word really is becoming whole, right? Hail, like it's like the root word is becoming whole. But for me, in the most simple form, if you are on day 1 and you're just starting your journey and you just say, I'm gonna cut out processed sugars, then you're healthy. Like you're starting on that journey. Now, take that down 12 months from now, then your body's gonna start to change, right? So I don't like to like really say health is a certain metric. You know what I mean? Health is actually making an honest effort to do better for yourself and to want to live better. Right? So I just want to keep it simple for people, really and truly. You know what I mean? Because I've been in this space for a long time, and now, like, because when I first started, I went vegan because of grass-fed meat was too expensive. You know what I mean? That's why I went vegan.
Valid.
I'm like,
Went to
yo,
the
this
source.
is too expensive. Back in 10 years ago, it was too expensive to source grass-fed, eat bison and all that. I mean, let me just go vegan because I can't afford this.
What do them niggas eat? What are they
You
eating?
know
You're
what I
getting it
mean?
from the plant, so might
You
as
know
well
what I
just go
mean?
there
I was
first.
like, yo, I can't afford this. And then I found that they're like, okay, this is grass-fed, grain finished. So that's like the journey that I started on, right? But now, as you're saying, there's this carnivore, right? Where carnivore is the only way you're healthy, or vegan's the only way you're healthy. Don't eat this. Like there's so many different things. But for me, it's like, yo, some people will come to me and I say, maybe you need to eat meat. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what for you. And I'm like, I that's not for me, but maybe that's what you need. You know what I mean? So for me, I just look at it as there's no one answer for everybody in the world,
Valid.
right? So if you're trying to get to, so like there's healthy, then there's beyond healthy or beyond wellness, which is my retreat company, right? It's called Beyond Wellness, right? Because wellness is just thinking about getting to the state where you can start to have fun with it, right? So that's when you start to optimize. That's when you start to think about, okay, now I feeling good. What can I do to put on some extra weight now that I figured out my basics?
Say being unhealthy is like being poor.
So do you go to the gym?
I do. I work it outside.
Okay, so what is like your like best source for protein since you don't eat meat?
My best source for protein, I eat
Chickpeas.
hemp seeds, like a lot of lentils. I eat a lot of fava beans actually right now. So fool, it's like an Egyptian food. I eat fool, chickpeas, and nut butters, nuts and seeds. And then I also have like a protein powder too, of like a mix of different seeds and things like that.
Okay.
But like,
Big up the alternatives.
I'm just saying that because there's people who be like, oh, like you only can get protein from meat. So it's like sometimes
they're
they think that oh well, if that's it, I'm not gonna try to go somewhere else because I'm not gonna get the result I want.
yeah,
So-
and that's when you can start to have fun. Like, let me start to see if I could optimize. But like, even those questions are like, you don't need to worry about your protein content right now. Like for a lot of people, you know what I mean? A lot of people's like, you worrying about things too far down the road right now. Like you're putting so much toxins in your body right now that you can get the perfect amount of protein. It won't matter for your health. You know what I mean?
Do you think there's, because like I've heard there's a difference between plant-based protein and meat protein. So from your experience, is there a major difference?
There is, yeah. One comes from animals, one comes from
Well, not the source, but based on the results that you're gonna get. You know, so they're saying like you can't get basically as big and strong if you only get plant protein.
The thing that I loved about going plant-based was it made me more creative because I couldn't just get for example, chicken and rice. Like it used to be easy to get your calories and get your protein when you're eating chicken, rice, fish, because all you have to do is focus on, let's get this salmon, let's get this steak, let's get this, whatever. So it was easier to get it. But if you're just learning and you have fun and you enjoy being in the kitchen or you just understand, then you could get those same results in being plant-based. So that's something that I've been experimenting with because when I say like no more skinny vegan, right? Because a lot of vegans are skinny. So when I went plant-based, I was like 30 pounds less than I am now. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, I gotta put on some weight and put on some muscle so people can see that you can go plant-based and gain muscle. So you gotta be more creative because sometimes if you just wake up, I see people on Instagram with their breakfast and I just see 6 eggs. And I see and I see how much protein they get in 6 eggs. I'm like, damn, that's too easy. You know what I mean? So you just gotta be more creative.
I don't mind easy though. Like sometimes I just want to get it done.
Box off 6 eggs. So
Listen,
maybe I'm not gonna do 6 eggs. Maybe not that easy. I would, spice it up a little bit. But like the concept of like I can get my protein here, my carbs here, some fiber from the vegetables, whatever here, and call it a day.
It's not complicated.
Yeah, I like simple.
I'm saying he wants complication. He likes complication.
I enjoy that process of putting together like a feast. You know what I mean? I enjoy that process. So
I gather you're a man that enjoys the journey of things.
He does.
So that's for me. I definitely enjoy that. So that's why any route you go, you can get the results. You just need you may need to just learn more, especially if it's plant-based. You just got to learn more. That's it, because it's not a part of our culture. But you go to different cultures, like for example, in Ethiopia, right? A lot of the Orthodox Christians, a lot of the time they eat vegan, right? And it's like they're eating a lot of lentils, like a lot of chickpeas, and their injera is made out of teff flour, which is a like a whole complete protein. So a lot of these cultures, if you're from those cultures, it's easy, right? In India, when they don't eat meat, right? So it's easy for them. They have all the different lentils, the beans, and all that. So it's easy for them. It's just whatever your initial indoctrination is gonna make you, nah, you can't. Like my family looks at me like, yo, you're gonna get sick. I'm like, yo, like, you know what I mean? I'm the only one thinking about my health, but it's just how they're indoctrinated.
You want healthy niggas.
You know what I mean?
And they're over there
You know?
coughing.
Kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
If I'm in your shoes, I'd be offended.
I know, you're-
Well, I had
You don't
to,
see all that I've done?
like, real talk. I had to sit down with my mom and be like, hey, mom, like, we have actual family members that are sick, right? So I understand your concern because you're not sure of this lifestyle, but we actually have to care for these other family members, and putting that attention on me, even though I am eating well, I am healthy, is actually losing the fact that we actually need to focus on these other members who are sick. You know what I mean? So it was just like I had to have these real conversations at some point. At first, it's funny. It's funny at some point. And then it's like, nah, but we got real sickness in our family.
Them niggas really sick. They ain't gonna make it.
You know what I mean? Like, yo,
No, I hear you. I hear
we
you.
got real sickness in our family.
Is anybody else in your family like you, like or like followed after you?
No. I can't
So
say
you're
they have.
preaching to them and they didn't even follow you.
What I will say is they made it best for them. So when I look at my family now, I see them, they're glowing. Like my sister, my mom, I see them, they're glowing, right? Because they're just shifting certain things that they're eating. So I go there and I make mushrooms. And all of a sudden, I go back next time, they're making me mushrooms. You know what I mean?
got
But
those,
they
huh?
have like something else with it that I wouldn't eat. You know what I mean?
But they're
They're
incorporating.
they're
Yeah.
implementing different things into their life. Like my sister, she loves the teas, for example. You know what I mean? So just take what you can from it. That's what I'm here. I'm here for a resource. You don't have to copy me. You don't have to be vegan. You don't have to be like me in that sense. But just try to be healthy. Just be on your journey.
So that for you is like what they're doing. That's healthy.
I'm so proud of them. I'm like, you know, I'm so, you know, my sister did a run this past weekend, 5K or 10K. No, she did 5K this weekend. And I love it. You know what I mean? I'm proud of her. She doesn't have to eat a certain way or do a certain thing. It's just like, just trying. Just if you put 5% effort into it,
It'd be all right.
you like, let's keep it real. Like,
Question.
keep it real.
All right, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't think you could expect people to entirely adopt everything that you got going on. You're on your own path. They're on their own
No,
path.
you guys gotta lead by
But
example.
if you could see that, you know, they're interested in some of the things you got going on, then you can say that there's value there. And at least it's nice to see that the people around you are at least open-minded, and then maybe on their own time they can indulge in more things, you know?
Mm-hmm. And
So-
something else is like, you could also make it easy for people by utilizing different herbs, right? Because some people, they're so sick that they need results ASAP. You know what I mean? And that's what made me really be interested in herbs and herbal healing, is that this is going to help people get results real quick. So for example, cassia lata, right? You take the cassia lata, say someone's like, you know, some people, they don't use the bathroom. They don't take a shit, right? So you give them some cassia lata, they start using the washroom, right? They feel the results of it. That tension they've been feeling from that constipation is gone. Then something works, right? And then sometimes that's all they need to start to be like, okay, let me try something else. Right? So that's why I went deep into the herb side of things, is because it's something that for people who are caught up in all this stuff, who they're not sure which action to take, if they try this, they may get a certain result faster than just like changing how they eat in a certain way. But they try this first, and then all of a sudden they get that results. Now they believe.
I believe to achieve.
Now they start. You know what I mean?
Makes sense though.
Question, a little more into the degenerate side of things. Do you drink alcohol at all?
I haven't for a while.
Oh, word. What's your relationship like with alcohol? Or like, how long ago did you give it up?
I never gave it up, to be honest.
All right.
I never gave it up. It's just one of those things where
You said I haven't in a long time, and I was like, well, how long?
Yeah, it's probably last time I drank was probably like 8 months ago.
What you drink?
Tequila.
You smart.
Agave. Yeah, you
I
gotta
like
do
Clean,
it.
it's clean. You
I like my
got you got
tequilas,
drink
you know?
clean.
Yeah.
I like my tequilas.
Living in Colombia, he had no choice.
I mean, yeah, I forgot he's over there in Colombia. He's in Colombia. What else do I have here? I have less deep questions.
I want to just on the back end of the herbs.
Go ahead.
Are you under the belief that like people can cure themselves of pretty much all diseases through natural methods?
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, because like
That was it.
You
got
want a
more,
deeper
but
answer?
I got more questions, but like
Yeah.
you know,
Word.
because our bodies are meant to heal. Like our bodies are constantly regenerating, right? So they're constantly healing itself. So all you got to do is provide the environment for the body to heal. Really, that's it. It's like it's really that simple.
Word.
Do you know anybody who personally was healed by like the herbs and stuff? Like they had something that was like, I guess, somewhat severe, and then they took this herbal remedy and it went away.
So many people, man. Like
but that was gonna be my next question because like you're a healthcare like educator and you have clients and stuff like that. So what are some of the things that you've helped treat people for?
Testimonies.
so I don't treat. Do you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
I know exactly what you're talking
personally
about.
I don't treat.
Guided?
Even just
What
testimonials
if people
that
helped
people have
themselves?
shared.
What if people helped themselves with through your assistance?
Right?
Yeah,
So-
you were present, but they did their
Thank
own
you.
thing.
so
Got you.
So right now,
I'm sure.
one thing that is very common that they say there's no solution for is fibroids.
You know what's crazy? I had a funnier way to introduce your womb thing, but go ahead. I'm gonna say as a man without one, how'd you get into womb health? Cleaning the like, I had a way better way to
As
ask
a
that.
man without one.
No, because now it's 2025. There's man with them.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. We're not even going to that part of the
Means
internet
fuck.
Well,
right
even
now.
let's say this, right? Even there will be people who DM me who say they had cancer, now they don't have cancer.
Word. And all they did was incorporate some herbal assistance.
Herbal assistance, lifestyle,
Yeah.
mindset,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Pick up everything.
Yes, because I don't just talk about just the herbs. It's the mindset. It's the
You gotta
energy, it's the
adjust.
love.
100%.
You know what I mean?
You gotta tune in.
And it's a lifestyle element too. So that's something, people have healed themselves from cancer, right? All these different skin conditions, fungus on the skin, and having children. They didn't think they could have children, so a lot of
Get that cooter rebooter.
different things. Even like
Doug, stop, bro.
The man's talking serious things right
Yo,
now.
stop.
This is how you're speaking.
Spite man to walk away, bro.
Yo, you see what I mean? I told you, bro.
Okay.
I used my feet and I got up out of there, bro.
How long do you think the body needs for like
Total
to get
reset?
that? Yeah, to do that.
Factory reset.
Yeah, like you're getting rid of
You know
cancer.
what? Can I answer that?
Sure.
So no, it's because I've done like.
I guess it's for interviewing you.
Like, sure.
I mean, you can go ahead. I was gonna say, but I just know for a fact, like that is subjective. That depends on where you're at in terms of your own health. Like there is no set 90 days and you're
No,
back to
I'm
normal.
just saying, like,
No, but that's what I'm
did
like.
she have the? Was it a year? Was it like a couple years? Like for?
Oh, you're talking about his specific client.
Yeah, like
okay, I
his
thought you said
client.
somebody.
No. I'm just saying, like for your specific client, like when they found out they had this, like how long until like when they like was the process for them to like get rid of it?
So what I'll say is this, right? It depends a lot on what it is, how willing that person is, and what really caused the thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So even to answer that is gonna be it's challenging, right? But what I tell for people is look for signs, right? So look for a little bit better energy when you wake up in the day. Look for a little bit more clarity in your mind. Look for like you're losing some weight. Because we think, that's what I'm saying, healing starts when you start. Right? So if you wait for the thing to be gone for you to be healthy, no, healing already starts. Once you made the thought that you're healed, you're already healed. Then your body just catches up with it. Right? So look for the signs, the breadcrumbs as it comes, and then that's going to be the thing that helps you.
But man, I gotta do some manifesting.
A little bit of mind over matter.
I've been telling niggas don't
Do you,
listen to that
do
body.
you believe people could be big and healthy?
Big and healthy.
Yeah, like can people be like, you know, those fat people like you know, like
Just say it, cuz. Just
yeah,
say
like
it.
those fat people who are like oh, don't worry, I'm healthy, but it's like you don't look too healthy.
You mean like big
Right.
boned?
Sure.
My bones are.
However you wanna.
Now it's like certain things. If you're looking at it, like if you keep going down that path, it's not gonna look good for you. You know what I mean? So big and healthy, it's like
Like, do they link up? Do they go together?
no,
In my books,
they don't.
I wasn't even getting.
Man said in my books, bro.
They
I was,
don't, right?
I was avoiding you
crazy.
because I know this is something he
You're
likes to
not
say. Like,
avoiding
oh,
me.
you can't be
No.
big and healthy. So
No,
no.
It's just like a sign. It's like your body is showing you a sign.
Yo, put it like this. Put it like, if your gas tank is empty, could you drive far?
I've pushed it to the limits.
Yo, and believe there are people pushing this body to the limits.
Crazy. Niggas like you are the problem, bro.
Yo, almost got my friend Flintstone on. It
Man's
was
gonna
great.
do all that and then blame the gas. It doesn't even drive far. Like, bro, what are you talking about?
Hey, there are people pushing their body to the limit a lot further than you're pushing that car to the limit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
You know,
Testing it.
They gotta get out and walk at this point.
yeah.
The car is done.
What I want to ask you nowadays, with health being a big trending thing on TikTok, on social media, everything that's going on, which of the genders do you find to be more in tune with themselves, males or females nowadays? Just on average,
Women.
you find women to be more in tune with themselves.
Without a doubt.
Why is that? Give me some belly
Can you specify those? Is that like physically, mentally, spiritually?
All
we're talking
levels.
about that. I'm just talking
All
about
levels.
health.
All
as-
levels.
Oh, so they have us beat
Like,
everywhere.
let me
got their
show you
ayahuasca
this.
on.
We are
bro.
defeated.
So I got this product here, right? It has no label on it, right?
those are the best products.
this one,
That's that rah-rah.
the best
this one's
products.
sweet bay leaf, right? And I just put on it 30 minutes before. Now, if you give this to a man and say, yo, just take this 30 minutes before,
What, before sex?
yeah.
You gotta say
That's
that.
all he
Let me
needs.
see this real quick.
That's all he needs.
Let's see this.
Right?
I just want to read this.
Zeroed in on the bag.
You know what I mean? Look at it like, you know what I mean?
Wanna take a
That's
look at
all
this,
you
guys?
need. All you need for
the
men
work right here,
is
bro.
like, yo, take this 30 minutes before, you're good.
It's crazy because there's
Oh, it
so
is
much
just
more
tea.
you could do.
You brought 3 of those?
Just teeth.
That's just tea, right?
that's it.
But so when it comes to men, like a lot of men, they don't really care.
Nah,
to
niggas.
be real.
Okay, what do you care?
Something's wrong with
What
those
fast? Okay, what facet of caring are you talking about? Because yo, when I say this question, it's multifaceted. Like I find nowadays that maybe it's in the circles and the people that I speak to and whatnot, but like yo, men are kind of on their thing right now. Like a lot of men that I know cook for themselves a lot more than women that I know. A lot of men are kind of like focused in terms of like the health and the gym, their overall fitness, or maybe it's just like I said, it could be the demographic of people that I like frequent right now, like my age group. But I don't know. I've come in contact with people. I can't say by and large like it's a unanimous decision. Like the gal them are more in tune with themselves. Like I said, we've had this discussion on the podcast before. It's like I've come across gals that didn't even know they were frowzy. You know what I'm saying? So how you could, as a big man, I've never been frowzy in my life and been like, I don't know. I'm just gonna go unaware and go frowse up the place, or because frowse is a part of health. You get what I'm saying?
Frowse is a
part
What do
of
you think?
They're not
Stink.
smelling the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How you mean? Like if you're a woman, you know, have you ever been in a situation where I wrote it down sicker? Hold on, let me read it.
It's kind of script.
No, you have to. You have to. It's not a script, fam. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing. Don't worry about that, James. I know what I'm doing. Being a master of the uterus, a specialist of the ovaries. Have you come across any real life experiences where the premises wasn't safe for exploration?
Yes, sir.
Dog, that's a crazy.
Shit, I'm a man. I've been
Of
outside.
course,
Right.
man.
The premises is crazy though.
Now, being a man, have you ever backed out some premises that wasn't worth excavating?
You have to be as a man.
Some men's having that back though.
Now,
bro.
here's the thing. And this is something for men, is you don't have to go to the premise to back away. A lot of the times you got to back away before even viewing the site.
You had a lot of warnings.
You got all the like, yo, we just want to test it too much. You know what I mean?
Take a scope from a distance.
A lot. I'm out of here quick, early.
So what are
without
some
even
quick
seeing it.
telltale signs you can see that the premises is not worth excavating? You said you can see it before you even get to the premises.
So
how?
some of them is just the culture that we live in right now, where just being so open sexually and sexually liberated
Too
is
loose
something
with
for
the
me
goose.
where That's, for me, I gotta stay away from that. Just certain ways of talking. Certain ways of talking. I just gotta step back. Certain things that they're eating.
Yeah, do you believe you are what you eat?
Yeah, it's not a belief, it's a fact. You know what I mean?
So just elaborate. So you say certain
Okay,
words of
let me
talking.
tell you.
No,
Let me tell you.
Back,
I'm gonna tell you.
Break it down, break it
For
down.
example, right? When I was vegan, I was dating a girl who was keto,
Word.
right? So that
Bloods and
means
Crips.
she's eating a lot of meat and cheese, right?
Bathroom's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Fromage.
And I'm eating plant-based salads, mushroom, all that, right? And my body smell changed. I started to stop liking how I smelled.
What do you mean? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Your pheromones will change depending on who you're sleeping with.
Oh, so her diet was rubbing off
Her
on
diet
you.
was rubbing, so it wasn't even
smelling
my
keto over
armpits.
here.
It was like coming from my skin, my sweat. I was like, yo, I
From where you're
stink.
contacting her, basically.
Yo,
Oh, lie, too much bracing.
Stink. So I'm like, yo, it's like certain food, it don't mix. So if you eat certain things, I gotta take a step back.
Was
You
it
know
the
what I
cheese
mean?
or the meat?
I think it was the cheese.
Did she have something called sweet breath?
Sweet
think
breath.
so.
What's sweet breath?
I don't know. They say you get it when you're on the keto diet.
I don't think
I never
sweet
even
bread.
heard about that.
But that's the
It
thing,
doesn't
you
sound like
know?
anything was sweet about that description.
I'm just telling you what I heard.
It was of me, I was smelling it.
That's
so that's
crazy.
made something for me where I
So
had
now-
to realize, like,
Go ahead.
you can't, you have to, not everything is for you. Not everything is gonna be in alignment with you, man. Because if I'm starting to stink, and it's not like she didn't
I'm not
stink.
allowed.
She
Was that
didn't
what,
smell.
did the relationship start to go sour?
It was sour,
Everything was
bro.
sour.
Everything was sour.
Bro.
Yeah, the
I'm
whole-
not lie. If
Yo.
I had sex with you and you make me smell on my own, yo, we have a problem still. Like, yo, biz, what do you mean I'm chilling on the couch and I smell like your cheese right now? What's going on? Do you have Gouda?
You know,
Yeah,
the
I'm giving you a
pH
cease
balance.
and desist
You know,
still.
like
You can't
the
come back to
women,
it.
and this is the thing, the women will talk about it like, yo, sis, he gonna throw off your pH balance. But she
Nah.
can throw off yours too.
Yeah, 100%. I told you.
She's gonna have you, like, you know what I mean? So,
Got them drink Hennessy and chicken wings.
Hennessy wings be
evacuate the
fire.
premises from there. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of things for me, man. I think as men, we got to be more just disciplined, all in all, of what we're gonna explore. You know what I mean? Because right now, it's like if all you're looking for is sex, then you can get trapped up so easy and caught up in different situations so easy, right? But if you are able to say, no, then that's gonna put you in a whole nother tier, a whole nother bracket where you just like let go of certain women naturally. You know what I mean?
So are you of the mindset that a man should only be laying down with a woman if he plans on being with her in like a serious manner?
I'm not in that
Still
deep,
from the Caribbean.
He's
what I
still
mean?
playing. He's
Still from the Caribbean, man.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that deep in the way that I like to look at it
You gotta have good
is
intentions.
I want to have someone where I'm like, I like to only sleep with one woman at a time personally. Do you know what I mean? And I want to be with the woman that, is like, I rock with her. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm just going to be messing around with anyone. You know what I mean? But yeah.
So
I
I
have-
just saying, I guess be more selective. Make sure
Be more selective,
the
man.
person is in alignment. You're not just moving strictly off of lust. You're making sure like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
you and this person are on the same page a bit.
Yeah, at least in some things, because a lot of men, it's just like, just go over there.
They just need to
deal
see
with
your
it,
cheeks.
and then that's
you know
it.
this too. You have to
That's
take in
it.
though, like I always talk about how the genders navigate sex differently, and men navigate from a point of scarcity and like survival, right? Whereas like, yo, you may not come across another opportunity or a cave to excavate for a while. So even if the cave is looking crazy, it's like, chill, buddy. I bought my rain boots.
Get the flashlight.
Put your boots.
That's a fact, right?
But this is but it's the mindset, right? And how you operate out of it, right? It's just like, yeah, bro. If you know that there's other caves I could excavate, then you don't need to put your boots on and get in every cave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then a lot of men grew up in scarcity.
Oh,
And
yeah,
they
yeah.
had to wait until they got some money. They went to the gym, put some weight on,
Get
and
some
then-
confidence, all of that.
Then it's like they're on a revenge tour. You know what I mean?
I'm a
So
conquer
it's
these.
like,
They
you know
got
what I mean?
lots
It's my
time
turn. Like,
they got
you know what I
lots time to
mean?
make up for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of that.
Another question. Do you rock with incense? Do you burn incense at the crib?
I do sometimes. Yeah, I have some incense I rock with.
You have a bead curtain?
Nigga, that's on my list too, man.
Sorry, B. I felt it.
Do you have a bead curtain? Shit, nigga, we asked. Bead. You know when the beads?
No.
Like every time you walk in and out the kitchen, we can hear you.
No.
Are your lights dim?
I was gonna say, would you burn Erykah Badu's incense at the crib?
I would like to see it. Yeah.
Have you heard?
Drake had a real good incense actually.
Hold on. You're getting real. So, have you heard about her incense?
I haven't.
It's her front.
Oh,
that he doesn't
front.
know.
I was about to say, from you brought up Drake after I mentioned her incense, I'm like, why you want to smoke Drake's incense?
I heard Erykah Badu and I saw your face.
She has her front as a scent.
This is not a safe space, by the way. Like, you gotta be careful.
Well, the man's the master of the front. And
I didn't know what was going on, but I seen how you looked at him when you asked the question. I'm like, oh, you don't even know what you're answering right now.
Yeah, I was just
You don't
like,
even know what you're getting into.
man said, yeah. I'm like, yeah, eh?
And then you brought up Drake. I was like, oh, wow. Drake making incense like Erykah.
Yeah, come on, man. Set me up.
Drake, stay away from the incense, bro.
Yo, Erykah Badu said trap Andre and Common, so just know.
And what's the other guy? There's 3 of them.
Who's the third musketeer, bro? Who did she bring down? She can bring down armies, this lady.
There's a next one. Common.
I know she hurt DJ Academic's feelings.
She was with Common too.
Yeah, she's in Common.
Bro, she's why Common's this guy.
Yeah.
There's another one. I forget,
bro.
but there's a next one.
Andre 3 Stacks Common. I don't know, man.
Oh yeah, and I knew Common. I don't know who the third one is.
Yeah,
Everybody's a little bit weirder after they leave her house.
And that's another thing that I wanted to talk to y'all about.
Oh, go ahead.
Have y'all come across like that real spiritual girl?
Oh,
Like on
the
that
Bohemian white woman with dreads?
Like that, you know, even the burning the incense and like, you know,
Crystals
It's
and
dark in her crib. It's a little dim.
I don't even think me and them are on the same frequency.
Yeah,
Like they don't
yeah.
even see me. I don't see them. You know,
I've been in those cribs, but like,
What are you doing over there?
Yeah, this guy's been in a lot of places.
I
He's
just
been
went
so
there.
many places. You were doing some excavating?
I did this and the door opened. I was like,
I sensed you were coming, King.
Before his knuckles didn't even touch the door, man punched air. Like, I'm in the apartment already. That's
I
crazy.
was like, oh, Lee.
Yeah, I'd have left right after that. I'm not lying.
It was dark. I was like, hey, where are you?
Oh, that's crazy. Another question I was going to ask you. Do you talk to the gal with Bohemian crystals? The Bohemian gal with the crystals? Is that your forte?
Well, hold on, like, where were you going? Because you did ask us a question.
Well, he's kind of going somewhere with it.
Well, we looking at my questions or what
No,
you got
remember,
going on?
we got kind of sidetracked. He asked us a question if we came across any of these.
Okay, so yeah, let's
women.
finish up
My
there.
answer was no.
So right now, there's a lot
been
of
to it.
There's a lot of
different-
fake woke, spiritually woke
and a
people.
lot of red flags.
Tell us about these
A
flags.
lot of red flags. You know, even if it's like Instagram and you know all these different things that you'll see.
Yeah,
Just
you don't
like
know
the
about social
common
media
ones, right?
spiritual? That's a whole
But
new
like,
crowd of
what
people.
I'll say about the what are some red flags that are uncommon but are a red flag to you? You know what I mean?
So
They're
And-
uncommon.
And
some
some
niche flags.
things for me is like I'm starting to kind of have that like that super manifestation spirituals like a red flag.
Oh, that's a big red
You know what I
flag.
mean? Like, yo, I gotta take a step back. You know what I mean?
Why do
Saying you
I
walked
know
into
why
her
I
life.
feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
But why do you feel that
As a
way?
woke nigga, give him your woke words.
Because it's becoming popular and trendy now. So it's similar to someone who's doing the mushrooms because it's trendy, but they don't have that purpose. They're getting lost in this, but they don't really know why they're doing it. You know what I mean? So you go and you think it's peace and love and light, and then you realize that the darkness under hasn't been addressed. You know, it's
So
like they
you're using it
haven't
as
done the
a-
shadow work.
They're using it as a mask.
I don't even
Using
like
it as a
when,
mask.
I don't even like when people talk to me like that.
It
About
still got
shadow
dark
work.
and shadow work. It's
No,
crazy.
no, you know what's crazy? Because again, the spiritual TikTokers and shit, the spirituals, the social media, the spirituality and shit. You gotta do your shadow work, man. You're just unhealed. You know what I mean? And people love people use that veil like a shroud of like righteousness almost. So I call it that.
Yeah, I think it's
Like a-
called virtue signaling. They're trying to make themselves look like they are holier than thou. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're better than you.
She plays with
Because-
herself in crystals, and she uses crystals to like fornicate, talking about I'm sicker than you.
Yeah, and she uses words like manifestation and generational wealth and
Yo, bro, what? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I had things to say. He just keeps interrupting with this type of
I was
shit,
like,
bro.
I'm trying to like, no,
Like, I don't know what to
nobody's.
say.
She's playing with herself with crystals.
No,
fam.
man.
Yeah, I was midpoint. Like, it don't matter now.
I rate it. You tried to keep going. Like, you're like, oh, no.
You gotta be very
sometimes.
mindful. Because sometimes when they say manifest, that's what they're doing.
Fucky.
Sounds like Obia to me.
Yeah, they're not.
Oh, that.
Oh,
You know what? I wouldn't even give him enough credit for Obia because that even takes commitment, fam. They don't even have that much, okay?
Nah,
they don't
bro.
have nothing but
I
the
wish I
big
could find it
flashy
right
words.
now. Like, I wish I could find it on command, but yo, they're like, you ever see like the white gal them with the dreads and the face markings and all the fucking bohemian rings and shit talking about I speak alien, and they're just making some. They're just.
Well, that's
I
like the
speak
most
aliens.
extreme level.
That's the
There's
next level, yeah.
But the ones he's talking about is a little level down. They still appear like normal people. You know what I mean?
okay.
That person you should know to stay away
Like,
from them.
these ones are even before Erykah Badu.
Yeah, yeah. They're not as eccentric and out there as
You may
as
see them
that.
out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I've come across some of these people in conversation.
What's a red flag for me? Even in relation to what you're saying though, yo, if you rely too much on like if you have to consult your crystals before making life changing decisions or even any decisions really, yeah, we're not doing that. If you gauge the basis of our interaction on astrology alone, yeah, I'm writing you off still. I'm not
even trying to hear about the ancestors. I'm not even trying. I'm not trying to hear about the ancestors on why you can't leave at this time. Like I'm not even trying to hear that. Like
I'm not gonna lie to you.
they
Yo,
said they said I should stay here.
I'm gonna throw it
What?
all out there. I'll even put it out there. I'll be racist and shit. Fuck all that. If you're a white woman who had a psychedelic experience and now you decide to dread your hair, leave me alone.
Yo, how often have you come across this? Like I thought we were doing personal
Just leave him alone.
experiences. Yo, this guy's just pulling things out of a hat.
No, that's a real thing. You never
No, I
seen
said,
it?
how often have you come across this? I thought we were doing like personal.
Yo,
red
honestly,
flags.
I'm downtown. There's a lot of people around. And like, yeah, fam, I don't know, festivals, 420 festivals. You just see a lot of these people in these places.
And they came to
I
talk
meant
to
in
you.
your life.
Like she came to talk to you.
I see.
yeah, in your life, not in the world. This is all
like she came-
a lot of varieties. of
Like
people.
when you were
crazy?
when you were
You
at
don't have to
Kensington, when you were at
interact with all of them.
Kensington, she approached you.
I actually had a white woman talk to me like about my dreads, and she had dreads, and I didn't like it. She acted like she knew more about
Did
things.
she
than I
ask
did.
you if your things are real?
This is
Yeah.
not what the question was about, bro.
And she had light-skinned kids. What about it?
this is not what it's about.
Holy shit.
But if we bring it forward, bring it back to men, women, who is more serious about their healing, right? I want to say that men, there's like this resurgence or like this.
Yeah, there's a
Men are starting to come forward. Like men
Yeah.
are starting to wake up.
I agree.
So I believe that. I believe that for men, it's something that we don't like. Women have a period every month, so every month they get like a reminder of how their health is. You know what I mean? They get they get to feel something different every month that comes, and it kind of gives them a note of like how they're doing. For men, we don't have nothing. Like the closest thing for us is like, do you wake up with an erection?
I was
You know what
about
I
to
mean?
say, yeah, the quality of your nut is really indicative of your health.
And that's for
Not an
most
indicative.
men.
This guy's
That's
sick.
going to be the main thing that really gets us on that journey. Do you know what I mean? But then a lot of us are going to take the shortcut, and instead of actually going to the root and understanding why, they're going to want to take a
Guess what?
pill.
They're taking the gas station
I
pills.
feel like
Right?
women do a lot of that stuff too. It's hard, like from.
Nah, they use a rose toy. It's different.
What are you talking about right now? I'd like to know what you're talking. I know what me and this guy are talking about. I want to know what you're
Yo,
talking
Cod is
about.
aged over there.
We're talking about the quick fixes, right?
No, it's a
the man
fact,
said the
though.
quick fixes, madam. You just want to make sure your body rises, right? Madam, go take gas station pills with rhino horn and shit instead of taking
but
the
I
bee
was
pollen into
mid-sentence,
right?
And that's not what I was saying, bro.
Right? And then you're like, yeah, but the gal done too. I'm like, yeah, they're a quick fix. They just draw for a rose toy.
Okay, but their problem is like, no, that's still not what the fuck that was. You're still
Now,
not responding to anything.
What you're talking
At
about
all.
is something. It's interesting though. What he's talking about is something interesting, but that
Sexual
kinda,
gratification.
That
Anyhow,
kind
go
of
ahead.
shifts it. You know what I mean? Because that's a whole different topic about the sexual liberation. You know what I mean? That's like a whole nother topic. You know what I
a
mean?
different topic.
That's a
as
whole
well.
nother
Yo, I'm not
topic.
gonna lie. The sexual liberation
Right.
movement's a psyop and the attack on the on society, bro.
Well, let's break it down because that's a fact. For example, right? You know hysteria? You know what they say hysteria? Like you're hysterical.
Oh, like the state of hysteria.
yeah.
You're
Yeah.
hysterical, right?
Yes.
So hysterical comes from the root word of hyster, right? And hyster means the uterus, right? And what
That
they
got
did
deep.
is they used to say women were hysterical because they said
Yo,
they had
I
a
see.
wandering
We did this.
uterus.
No, we did this.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
did this.
yeah.
We did this where the vibrator was used as a medicinal tool
And it was a medicinal tool. So
until the gal started using it too much.
but
The doctor
whole
was
thing is-
tired.
Medicine.
The whole thing is this,
Doctor was
right?
tired.
Can't take anymore.
Well, here's
They're so unhealthy.
It's the third time this week.
Nigga look like Popeye by the end of the shift.
But when it comes to the men, you know, when it comes to that's the only thing we really care about.
Yeah, if you're
A
wood
lot of
stands.
us, right?
That's how niggas
But
get
then-
into health.
Right? Initially, that's how I even started.
Me too,
right?
nigga. Don't
That's
worry.
how
I
started.
was on the quest to
You know what I mean?
find the best things for manhood.
You know, and then that's like
Yo,
that's an entry point.
Like, we get it, cuz. We get it. Like, man, we get it.
No.
fam.
But I've seen a lot of men start. But when it comes to like women, they're more focused on, for example, the skin health. You know what I mean? Their glow, like
You know
their
what's crazy?
appearance.
The idea of
It's
it, 'cause
almost like they're kind of doing the same thing though.
No,
'Cause,
they're doing it
their
topically,
value
bro.
is kind of placed in these areas. Like the skin
Yeah.
health, a woman's value is placed in her beauty. The man health, like fam, if you're not strong,
You're not strong.
yeah, you
wake
if
up
you're
and
not
nothing
first,
not
you're
going.
last. Like
And the
Ricky
next-
Bobby said, it's done.
another thing is it's coming just because of men. So when they
Well,
a lot of
repeat
women,
that.
right? When they get a breakup or get hurt,
Yeah.
right? They're gonna actually want to get healthier,
Yeah, because they want to go
wanna-
find a new man.
right? You know, they're gonna turn up. But for men,
Turn
we end up just going down the road just to find new women and not really going to health. It's very few, like where you start to lift weights and gain weight and stuff like that.
I don't know.
That's not as common.
You know what's crazy? So like, there's two sides to that because, like, again, that's subjective and it's hard for me. I have no statistic to even put a rationale on either side of it, right? But I'd say like I've seen a lot of women like, yo, because they have so much more options in terms of resource of the opposite gender. Soon as they like, a lot of the time when a woman breaks up with a man, yo, I seen gals go on and look a hole off and they run up the mileage.
No doubt. No
Right?
doubt.
They run up the mileage on the gas tank. They're like, yeah, I'll do the thing. And yo, because even that whole notion of like, yo, who really loves harder in a relationship, right? They say like, a girl will be thriving after a relationship. She got a new job. She's doing this and that. But yo, the man's over there being devastated, right? But who's really loving?
But that's because most relationships end because of the woman.
So do
Like,
most
at least-
marriages.
Well, that's what I'm basing off. But we don't have the stats on a boyfriend and a girlfriend because they're not recorded. But a marriage is recorded.
Yeah, no, it's an in proportion stat too.
when they separate, we know who initiated the divorce. 80% of the time, it's the woman. So I can assume that, and when it goes to like premarital relationships, most of them probably end on her terms. That's why this guy is just in shambles afterwards. She's glowing because she got rid of the problem. This guy's over there alone. His life sucks.
How I look at it, right, is like it's harder for a man, for example, like for me, right? If I'm trying to be like, if I'm like the leader in a relationship and I'm the one who kind of brings her into my lifestyle, right? That means I set up like a vision of a lifestyle and I welcome her into it. And then now once it breaks, once it stops for her, it wasn't really her lifestyle. So she goes back
To her
to
life.
what she was doing and she
Right.
could try next thing or this. But for me, I was thinking like,
My program
like-
still has to beat.
you know what I mean? Like, yo,
She's
I
the
was,
passenger.
yeah, you know what I mean? So for me, I had to redo my mission and vision, my mindset to fit her in to that. You know what I mean? And then that's a lot of energy,
Yeah.
right?
I feel like it's funny. I was talking about this with my brethren the other day, and this can be applied in like different ways. But I feel like even like a relationship for a man getting with a woman, like I feel like very often like we have to make like the bigger adjustment. Like they kind of want us to like change how we're acting to like be with them. You know what I mean? Versus like they kind of we already choose the woman how they are. Like if I didn't want you how you were, I probably wouldn't have messed with you in the first place. But the woman will get the man despite however he is living, and then try and like expect him to adjust to like towards her.
So what adjustments are
think
you
it
referring
depends. Yeah.
Well, both parties have to make adjustments, but it's like
to? No, just man. What does the man have to adjust?
it's minor ones, but like yeah, the major ones. Okay, for example, it's like one, even in the case of like monogamy, like a woman will be seeking a man knowing that this guy has women around him, and she'll just expect like, okay, he'll cut that off for me. Whereas a man is usually like, if you think that she's there entertaining a bunch of guys, that's a deterrent. Like you don't want to talk to her. So it's like you're not expecting her to stop everything she's doing for you. You want her to already like show up that way.
You don't do this.
The way that I see it, this
Stop
is
fucking
like,
people. Stop it.
You don't do
it's like the modern dating right now, where it's like it's hard to actually get to an outcome of a long-term relationship given this. You know what I mean? It's like coming from those bases, like it's tough. That's why I feel like long-term relationships and family and all that is gone out the window right
Coming
now.
to it, yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, the frivolousness and like the like, there's an attack on the family structure, and when you break down the family structure, and you have men and women being isolated and individualized, we are easier to control as a society because we're not unified. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I feel like yes, that's true in those dynamics. But if like in the more traditional mindset, for me, for example, like a woman that comes into my life, I'm not gonna change. You know what I mean? Like you're welcome into my life. And there's gonna be certain things, like for example, like my girl who I'm with now, I stopped smoking, right? And she was a catalyst to that, right? But I already knew inside I wanted to stop, but she was a catalyst to that. So there's certain things, but for the most part, she's coming into my lifestyle and I'm wanting her to, you know, it's like they say the program, you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
gotta- you have a
program.
You have
Yeah.
a program, right? And you bring the woman into your program if you're like if it's a leader. Do you know what I mean? So that's just how I look at it. So I'm not gonna like what am I gonna change? I feel like I've implemented and done a lot of research and things into my life. So I'm not gonna do too much changes. And if she wants me to change, we're not in alignment.
I think I agree with that. I think what I was stating is like what usually happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have your standard,
Yeah.
but that's not what usually is
That's
taking place,
exactly,
right?
exactly, yeah.
Because usually women kind of favor, they say it's like 80-20, like 80% of the women want about 20% of the guys. Now the numbers might be slightly different in reality, but it's roughly accurate, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, it's like there's only a small pool for them to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
So the other guys who get somebody, like they're almost like lucky to have a woman. So it's like, bro, if she tells you to do something or to change something, you're probably gonna do it because you don't got the leverage. Unless you belong to that 20%, then you have your own program and she has to acquiesce because you're
That's
in
why
a,
it's tough
in a
right
smaller
now.
pool, you know?
That's why it's
But you know what
tough.
it is though? I found like I don't have like a fail-safe answer or like a overall take on that. I just feel like, bro, it's a lot of the glorification of social media that has us looking at and idolizing and glorifying the 20%. Like back in the day before like all this connectedness and all this availability of access, buddy, you were just subject to whoever was around you geographically, right? Like the people in your area, like a lot of like even in small town places, like bro, it's just these are the people that's here. Pick from them. You know what I mean?
No, it's a fact. Because even like social media, right? It's like these women may not literally get access to that particular man they're looking at, but now that becomes their standard because they're always looking at it. So now within the environment that they're in, there's only a small amount of guys who are like replicating what they see online.
Yeah, man.
And
for
then the
men,
rest of them are gonna basically be obsolete, you know?
yeah, and it's tough for men too when you look at social media, because you like the amount of like it's like soft porn basically. Instagram.
Oh no, it's not soft. Nothing soft about it on there.
You know what I mean? So for us men, we got these certain standards too that we're looking. It's like, man, like we all want them to all look the same, and that's why like a lot of the surgeries are coming, and there's like a lot of like women.
Nah,
are
it's
starting
fucked
to look
up.
the
It's
same,
fucked
you know what I
up.
mean?
Nah,
I don't
And
even want them to look like
That's the
that.
thing. No,
what
I
we're
think
looking
there's
for.
a discrepancy about the surgery thing. So I think a lot of this. So women, I think a lot of people in general do what they think they're supposed to do and not actually what they feel they're supposed to do, right? And so, for example, like I've seen a lot of women who have undergone these procedures. One, I've seen them get them removed. Like the BBL was a trend, right? Now, surgery being a trend is fucking crazy to me. Like you're going under the operating table for a trend, for an outfit. Like it's insane to me, right? Nonetheless, though, what was I about to say? What was I about to say about this thing? They also say they don't do it for a man. A large portion of the people I asked about their cosmetic surgery, they say they do it for themselves. They do it, I don't know, whether they're lying to me, themselves, or whoever the fuck they need to lie to in order to justify the behavior, lies are being told, right? They say, we do not do it for a man. In fact, we do not even seek a man's approval, right? A lot of women do it, they say, just because they have this unspoken, I don't know, they have like their own, like how the man engage things in the road, you can judge a man by his status and where he's at. These things are also indicative of status for women, right? So if you have your nails done, your lips, your eyes, you have all the surgeries, you are of, I guess, a status of value in the female demographic, right?
Those are status symbols.
Status symbols, right? Now, the man, we may look at you and be like, she's a hoe, right? But it doesn't matter because we're getting a lot of these standards and a lot of these norms. They're coming from like, you know, the subcultures of hip hop and fucking other aspects and lanes of degeneracy, right? All this being said, it's just heavily reinforced and heavily perpetuated with social media. And because people spend so much time on social media on their phone, they have no differentiation or no distinction between reality and how you actually feel. How you act. People rather look at themselves through a filter. People don't like what's in the mirror. That's what I found today.
It's true. And just looking at all the filters is wild. But the thing is, us as men, we feed into that. And when you look around, we not like we even want that, but we look at it as valuable for other men too. And sometimes for men, we don't like, we're not looking what's actually best for us. We're looking at what's going to make us look higher status as well.
There's that.
So that may make us choose a certain type of woman because of how we perceive that status is going to make us. And how that's going to be for, you know, I'm just talking about
that's true. It's true.
Like
There-
my experience and just
No,
like,
definitely.
you know what I
there
mean?
is an amount of truth to that. Men selecting women based on status and whatnot. But then I also think that the overarching premise of like the attention being received. So like women be like, oh my gosh, you guys are the reason that like this is happening. You guys are paying for the OnlyFans. You guys are paying for this. You guys are basically glorifying this, right? Or why you liking up these pictures on Instagram, right? Of these half naked women or whatnot. Whole time it's not the like. That's one aspect of the attention they're receiving. They don't, and it's not necessarily like these women that you're looking at. We hardly look at them as people. Men are looking at them through an objectifying lens, right?
I don't think women understand that.
And that's what I was about to say. I don't think that they can distinguish the type of attention, right? Attention is just attention, and attention comes in like currency.
I think they think we're lying when we
Yeah,
tell
it's
them
like
that.
It's
Let's
they have no
remove the
filter
women
for
from
that.
it. Let's remove the women from it, right? And just look at
Go ahead.
amongst men,
Right.
right? There's a certain higher value that you'll be placed in if you have a certain type of woman in certain spaces. Like in the circle that I move in, the holistic healing, natural side of things, that's not the standard, right? But a lot of the people who, like my friends who aren't in that lifestyle,
Right.
they won't even value the type of woman because of she doesn't dress a certain way even. Like, let's keep it real. A lot of people are superficial
A lot of people
to
are.
a high level, high degree.
Right. But I think
Right?
unanimously around, regardless of what area of life, I feel like a beautiful woman is kind of like a beautiful person is going to be recognized regardless. Like, I don't think that there's like, oh, she's this kind of beautiful, we don't like her. Like, no, by and large, you perceive something you see as beautiful, it's kind of globally recognized. Like, I don't think that it's that.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception on like what beauty is though. I think that's kind of like, so a woman that's beautiful is just beautiful, okay? So she looks good and you're walking around with her as a man, like people are gonna respect that you were able to even
Acquire
get that
yourself.
in your life. Like you were able to get this woman, like wow, good for
That's
you.
it.
Now, with the advent of like cosmetic surgeries and the popularity of hip hop music, hip hop popularizes like the body work because there's like a status associated with it because there's everybody
money.
worships money.
It's material.
So if you have enough money, even people say, "Oh, you're not ugly, you're broke." That's a popular narrative kind of within like the hip hop community, and since hip hop is very popular, a lot of people adopt that thinking. So now you have women who may or may not have these objectively attractive features, and then they go and pay for it, and then they get artificially placed into the subject or the category of being beautiful. And then now other women are looking at it like, oh, so that's what beautiful is? And it's like, no, she just half naked. Because you can't differentiate the attention. We're just looking at the fact that she has
Tits and ass
visible
out.
sexual body parts. And now she's getting the same attention as a very pretty woman who might have all her clothes on.
But the thing is,
Because we're hyper focused on having sex. But the women, cannot differentiate that the pretty woman with all her clothes on and the half naked woman with her body done, they're both getting attention on the surface, but for different reasons. And they can't seem to understand that.
I think men have a hard time understanding it.
you know
too.
what? I'm not even wrong. I agree with him to a certain extent too. I do believe that people by and large have a hard
Yeah.
time differentiating reality from the messages they're being fed. Right? I think that like it's just more apparent with women because it's easier to clear coat and call it.
I can agree that there's some guys who will still lust over the woman with her body done and even try and like marry
Buddy, how
her
many
and
times you
stuff
been to
like
the strip
that.
club and a nigga said, yo, I could save you. You're better
Yeah,
than
you're
this.
right. You don't have to do this. Those guys exist 100%. But I think within the male population, there's more understanding that, bro, you shouldn't be with that woman.
But here's
Within the
thing.
female population, they seem not to understand that, like, hey, if you behave like that, a lot of us won't respect you. Like they don't understand that part.
But I think it all originates from what are we looking for? We're not looking for relationships as a population. Family is devalued.
It's the culture here, yeah.
It's the culture. We're not looking for family relationships. So then
Why do you think that is?
Why do I think we've been programmed in all the shows, the music, like hip hop failed us, I believe.
No, I'm not, but I think it even stems greater than hip hop. I believe it's like it falls onto the economy, I feel, and like society itself, right? Because large portion of things, look at the generations of people that even came to North America prior to, like, and that had been married for a long standing time. Part of their marriage was linked to survival. Like, yo, us two are coming from a foreign country somewhere else, and like we need each other to survive.
Right now, make this make sense then. Why is that not common now when it's even harder to get a house? It's even harder. It's more expensive to live. It's just because our mindset, right? Our mindset, and this is the thing, is like we have this certain thing of independence in men and women.
Yes.
Right? Because in men, we want to be independent. Like I 10 toes, I did it on my own. Right? That's kind of like how we've been programmed. Right? Now for women, there's the other level of independence. But for men, that's how we are. Right? So we don't value family. We don't value coming together. We don't value any of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think that would be the women too. I think both parties, everybody has this idea that you need the triumphant independent story.
Yeah.
I came from humble beginnings. I made it on my own, and I don't need
you also
anybody.
factor in certain things too, right? Like I say, I brought up the economy because the price of living and the price of like certain levels of independence are just a lot higher than they were before. Bro, people are starting, like naturally speaking, people are starting families and cultivating their independence way later than they were in generations past, right?
I believe it's also because we don't, because if you go to other cultures who come here, they're looking to get married younger.
Right.
Certain different cultures who I grew up with, they were thinking, this is something that I didn't even realize. They were thinking about, oh, if we come together and we both have our incomes, we could live comfortably and then we could build something.
They're thinking long term.
I didn't know that was a concept.
I'd have to
thinking
believe-
long term.
I'd have to believe it's the feminism thing because realistically, like men didn't do anything.
Well,
Men kept being men. Women said, yo, we
it's
don't need
hip-hop,
to be
man.
with
If
you anymore.
Even if you look at hip hop, right? Everything, not everything, but a lot of what it pushes out is gonna be short-term enjoyment. It's gonna be all about instant gratification.
I
right?
think this is beyond hip hop.
It's a lot of
all
tricking
music.
Yeah, I think I goes
That's
like
all music,
I
bro.
think
That's all
the
everything right
music
now.
like
I
helps
think movie-
perpetuate some of these narratives, but
Bro.
it didn't start it though.
Entertainment itself,
heck
bro.
no, didn't start it.
'Cause
But what I'm saying is like that's just one of the big factors in our lives that we can look at that had a huge impact on me personally. Like
Valid.
I can
No, that's valid.
personally look at hip hop and say certain things made me look at women different ways. That when I reflect, I'm like, damn, right? And then you look at how they're living now, and then you see that there's not many families, right? Even if you look at in athletics, that's why I love Steph Curry. I love Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who has his family. He talks about his wife. He's crying on stage. They say he's corny because he's crying about his wife and his child, right? You have Giannis, who has his wife. Think about when we were growing up. We didn't see no families in athletics even. Jordan was
I'm not
nothing.
gonna hold you. As a big man though, you gotta know when to bust your tears and when not to still.
You know what I mean? So it's in all different elements,
Yeah, the
right?
niggas he's talking
Can't even have a moment. Can't even have a moment, bro.
But that's just the things that I personally didn't see it growing up,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So I didn't value. I had to learn.
Did you come from a stable 2-parent household?
No,
Okay, cool. Me neither. I
right?
was just
So I
wondering.
didn't learn, but I saw other people. I saw other cultures. I'm like, damn, they get married. Like for example, going to university. Certain cultures are taught that when you go to university, you're going to university to really find your partner, your wife, your spouse,
Word.
right? Because that's going to be your best chance to find someone that's like
In
that
alignment.
alignment.
Yeah, I get it.
And has, you know what I mean? So I'm like, that, and I had
A lot
no
of
idea.
married people met in
In school,
college.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
true,
like that.
true.
I had no idea. I wasn't thinking about that at all.
Nah.
I was listening to all this different type of music that I was feeling good about having multiple women at that time. And I will say it's because of the music, but also like because of my brothers, and that
Manhood,
made
yeah.
me look
But
like, you know what I mean? Even like,
That's why I say the music probably perpetuates it, but then where does that come from? It's like, why are the parents separated in the first place? Because your first influence should have came from them and not the music. So like, how come they weren't there? You know what I mean? It's like, what are the reasons that so many people are in single parent situations. You know what I mean? Like, where did that come from? And I think that's a combination of probably the welfare state incentivizing, like, we're going to pay your rent or give you money if you're only a single parent and the father's out of the home. And then also feminism encouraging women to like be independent of men. Then you put those two things together and you're going to influence a lot of people to separate.
We don't have a
That's
chance.
truly, right?
And then the people who make the music are products of this circumstance. And then
That's-
it's just going to
that's a
continue
fact.
to go like this, right?
That's a fact. And I look at it the same as health in the starter. It's like we can just keep it simple, right? Because it's so simple where it's like we look at this big, like the prison industrial complex, all this, which is all facts, but just start with you. Do you know what I mean? Because, for example, like I know that for me, I had to deprogram a lot.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So I know, like, shoot, and I knew that it was even the food that they're feeding us has an impact on that, right?
For sure.
And what we see, I had an older brother, you know, what he's showing me, you know what I mean? What I was watching on TV, the music, and then immigrant families coming over, and what you're talking about, the welfare, and then as you're talking about equality and women are starting to make more, like, I know all that, right? So now I'm like, we got it stacked against us, just like with the food. Like you go to a grocery store, you see the one healthy aisle. You know what I mean? You start to eat healthy, they start to tell you you're not healthy. You know, you're gonna be sick. Where are you gonna get your protein from? So it's like the same thing, right? And that's facts, right? But I just look at it like, what do you want to do about it? Like, what do I want to do about it myself? And that's really all I can do. You know what I mean? That's all.
You gotta be the change you want to see in the world.
For everybody.
Yeah,
You gotta
I'm about to
help
say.
everybody.
There's so much depth to this. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And like
yeah.
I like in the health thing, right? One thing that I had to say is like, let them die.
I agree.
Some people you gotta let
Can't
them
save
go.
them all. Niggas die dumb every day.
That's what you guys say in the health world?
That's what I say.
Like, yo,
I didn't know that's what you guys say. Just
some
let them
people,
die. All right.
Like, you know,
Natural selection.
that's what it's. You gotta let
Natural
them
remedies,
die.
natural
You know what I
selection.
mean? Like we're like we think that we can help every. Nah,
Can't, bro.
there's too much stacked up against. You may just help a couple. That's it,
Bro.
You know what I mean? Even Jesus in the Bible, he didn't heal nobody who didn't have faith. He said, little faith did you have? Like, it is your faith that healed you. Not even he healed people who didn't want to be healed. What am I gonna do? You know what I mean? So I was like, yo, I can only focus on me and people who are interested and people who have like a certain, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like, if my relationship is something that is an interest, some people may look at it as, this guy's a simp. You know what I mean? Some people, like when I stop smoking weed, they'll look at me and they'll be like, yo, bro, yeah, she's not gonna find out. She won't find out you ain't smoking, man. Just smoke this one with me. You know what I mean?
Nah.
And for me, it's like, but
Those
I
aren't your
know,
friends.
but I know
around
for,
as a big man.
That's
for
crazy.
me,
I don't
Sneaking
respect
a
it
smoke.
still.
but for me, I know why I did it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you did it
But
for you.
the whole point is that that's just how it is, right? So that's just how it is. I'm not
I
trying to
get it,
change
get it.
nobody. There's so much stacked against us, and we could stay in the like kind of the victim side of things, or we could just make our choice of however we want to live,
Vict up or fix up.
victim or victor.
You get what I'm saying? Anyhow, anybody have anything to add on that before I go to Quickfire? No, we're going.
No.
All right, cool. So this segment's called Quickfire. I'm gonna provide a series of would you rather style questions. I need you guys to answer them as quickly and honestly as possible. Our order will be our guest, followed by Cuz, followed by Bench. Is everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, wicked. Quickfire. Grand Rising or good morning?
Good morning. Grand Rising is ruined. I used to say Grand Rising. Now they make me look like I'm crazy. So I have to say good morning now.
We got something for you, Grand Rising niggas.
Believe me. I used to say Grand Rising, but then all of a sudden I start seeing these posts. I'm like, nah, I can't say that.
can't even
no
be
more.
these niggas.
Nah, I can't. Listen, good morning.
You wooden beard man.
Seeing that in your girl's phone,
morning.
Grand Rising. Yeah, I'm out. Good morning.
Mitch?
Yeah, it's a good morning, bro.
Good morning, on the board. Would you rather date a girl that talks to her crystals before she making? Wow, let me get it again. Would you rather date a girl that talks to crystals before every decision she makes, or base her decisions on her daily horoscopes?
Jesus.
I would say horoscopes.
Let me see what them crystals are saying today, babes. Saying horoscope is sticky too. Like,
Yeah, I'll probably do the crystals. I feel like the horoscope. That's every day. It's
That's
something
too- yeah.
different. It's too volatile. You know.
Might
Yeah, the
even
crystal
throw-
seems like the safer bet. I'm not gonna hold you.
The only thing about the horoscope is there is a certain science to it.
I'm talking about the daily ones. You know, the applicable to
yeah.
everybody.
Like she
Not
opened the
specific
news.
ones.
I don't even believe this.
Like the ones in the
person has
newspaper,
She
right?
got the app, right?
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
horoscope app.
I gotta give it a benefit of. That's how I get caught up. That's how I get caught up.
She's a bad person. She's a bad
That's
person.
how I
Crazy,
get caught up.
Would you rather live next door to a safe injection site or live beside a city dump with rabid raccoons?
Next to us, no. With my
Why'd you
veins?
look at your arms?
No,
He's
because
checking for those veins. He's like,
here's the thing, because I'm in. I
They're
grew up in
crackheads, not vampires.
Right, I was
They're
in
blessed.
Vancouver, right? So here's the thing, like on Hastings Street, it's like full of safe injection sites,
Word.
right? Now my
Niggas tryna get
veins
you,
stick
eh?
out. No, listen. What they'll say
look
is
at those green veins.
No, for real, they'll be like nice veins, bro.
Wish I had
Nice
those veins.
No, for real.
You're getting catcalled
That's what
by
they-
junkies?
That's what they gonna do.
I don't even know how to respond to something
don't
nice.
hold you down.
Believe me.
Imagine they're covering his arms.
No,
like
they look at the veins.
Veins cover-
I swear. I
This
swear.
man's arms coming in like
They look,
cleavage.
they look at the.
Man's talking about what I would do with those arms.
I'm serious, like that. That's real life.
That's crazy.
Thing that happened. You know what I mean?
Yo, what are you doing?
But
They got free junkies out
Where you
there,
living,
yeah?
bro? Where you living?
I'll go buy the safe injection site.
Hide your veins, bro.
Yeah, I'm staying by the safe injection site. The dumpster's bugging.
Yeah. Safe injection, dumb showers, rats and things. And
Yeah, yeah.
Rabbit.
They are.
I have some holistic quickfire questions myself still. Throw them
Yeah, we
there.
get them after. We get them after. Shit, first time for everything.
Happens.
Would you rather? Oh no. Would you rather be required to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day for a month, or drink a 750 of Jack Daniels daily for a month? Just 1 month, 30 days. You want to smoke a pack of cigarettes for 30 days, or drink a 750 of Jack Daniels 30 days?
I would say Jack Daniels.
Hardest working liver in the streets.
Jack Daniels.
Probably the bogeys.
I'm gonna do the Jack Daniels still.
Bogeys.
Jack Daniels.
Just don't call
Like
me
a
out
pack
there.
of bogeys?
2-6?
A
What?
pack
I
of
can't
bogeys
get
a day,
nothing done.
fam? A pack
I
of
can't drink that
bogeys a
much
I've
in
day.
a
never
day.
smoked before, so I'm like, I don't even know how to respond.
I've drank a lot of liquor. I know what my limits are, bro. The whole 2-6 in a day.
You'll practice, bro.
Fam, a whole pack in a day is crazy. Every day?
Yeah, fam. You're
just cleansing same time, you know?
I mean, hardest working liver in the galaxy. Would you rather date a bohemian white woman with dreads who is super into black culture but doesn't shower that often, or a wealthy white woman who takes care of you but fetishizes your blackness and she has to call you the N-word during sex?
Yo, bro, yeah.
Where's Dr. Umar?
Yo, I don't even care.
Yeah.
I don't
Yo,
even
where's
care if
Dr.
they.
Umar?
I don't
You
even
should
care
come
if they
smite
hate
this
me.
Yo,
guy,
I'm
bro.
celibate, right?
I don't even care if they hate me for my answer, bro. I don't even care,
Listen.
fam.
You doing the bohemian white woman who doesn't shower that often? Or the wealthy white woman that just wants to fetishize you and call you a nigger during sex?
I'll have to. I'll pick one and two bohemian.
All right. You're
I'm not
saying,
gonna lie, yo. Yo.
I know where cousin's going.
Yo, just call me what you want to call me, bro.
Yo, I'm sorry. Fucking what you
Yo,
doing?
Yeah. She gonna have to pay me for that still. But I'm gonna handle the rich white woman.
yeah, like I'm
You
on
said the other thing doesn't made. You lost me right
Not
now.
that often.
Like a couple N-words.
Nah,
like,
fam,
this
that's
is
too
weird, but-
natural
But yo,
for me,
she's
fam.
super into black culture.
And she's too
Yeah,
natural for me,
She
fam.
needs to get into a bar of soul, fam. She's Frowzy, fam. I'm not even talking
The wealthy
to you.
white woman, I'm not even hearing those talks. Like I'm
You
crushing
can't-
with earphones.
You can't call my phone if you don't bid.
She calls you, how's my little jungle bunny?
I'm right here.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm right here, babes. What do you
I'm
mean?
stealing every time I go to her house. Like, yeah, all right.
All right, cool. Would you rather move in with someone? Oh, fuck, I got it. Would you rather move in with someone after one sound bath and a mushroom trip, or wait 7 years until your astrology signs finally align?
Sorry, what was it?
Yeah,
I got
repeat
you.
that.
Okay. You're dating someone, see? Now, would you rather move in with someone after one sound bath and a mushroom trip, or wait 7 years until she feels your astrology is properly aligned?
Sound bath mushroom.
So you're moving with? What are you doing?
I feel like we need 7 years. Like, yeah, I feel like I don't even know what a sound bath is. Like,
You wouldn't have the bull?
hell no, 7 years. We're waiting for the alignment.
I'm gonna do the mushroom joint. Like 7 years to wait on some
I ain't got no time.
some crazy woman that's like planning our whole thing on astrology. That's a madness, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the mushrooms in the sound
Yeah.
bath and hopefully we vibes, you know?
Hopefully.
Would you rather date? Oh no, you know what? Yeah. Would you rather date someone who always wants to talk about our vibrational alignment mid argument, or someone who settles everything by pulling tarot cards even for what she wants to eat.
Vibrational alignment.
What am I dating Miss Cleo, bro? That's crazy.
Erykah.
Let me get the vibration alignment, whatever.
Yeah, vibrations.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If Bibbs hits me with the vibrational alignment mid-argument, we're reasoning, no? Seen?
Yeah, tarot cards means like, yo,
Just give her a lion pump.
you gripping your girl's forehead, man?
you have to do that, huh?
Yeah.
Yo, I can't. That's fucking stupid. Okay.
Up top.
Would you rather have child-sized feet or child-sized hands as a big man?
Crazy.
Outside hands.
Sorry.
Yo, both are hilarious, you know.
You might
like-
fall if you walk with your child's feet.
You know?
But I feel like the gal them rate the feet. So like, you know
Yeah,
what
I'm
I'm
not
saying?
like, you got them child hands, like yo. Nobody respects your dad.
Yeah, but
Yeah, probably the hands. I'll just wear gloves.
Doesn't make them look bigger. They're just small gloves.
I'll just get gloves like that are a bigger size, and I just won't take them off.
The nigga needs mittens.
Yeah, bro, I'm blessed.
Mitch Mittens.
Mitch Mittens is crazy.
That's, fuck.
Would you rather grow hair aggressively? Okay, well, hold on. Would you rather grow hair aggressively or hold on, let's see what I wrote here. Would you rather grow hair aggressively or not be able to grow hair at all on your body?
Talk to the nigga with no hair.
I mean, he has a beard, nigga.
Oh,
Not grow hair.
what's the second one?
How
Grow hair.
aggressive, actually? What are you talking about?
Ooh,
You got like back hair.
you got back hair.
Like Chewbacca type shit.
I'll go not grow hair.
you gotta comb your back hair and your wings and shit.
Not grow hair.
But you got a full head. You're like full mane on your neat.
Yeah, well, like I'm half werewolf.
Tommy Dawkins, fam. Big wolf on campus.
Yeah, I guess I'm doing that. Big wolf.
Like, how fast does it grow? Like
Daily. You gotta shave your knuckles daily.
daily? Probably no hair. That's crazy. I'll probably just do no hair, bro.
I'm just
I
man.
just look weird, but like it is.
That's
what it
bad.
is.
I would do the Mr. Clean as well.
It's more practical.
And yo, that's all I got on my thing. Yo, hit him with the holistics, man.
All right, man. I guess the madam can answer these too, but like your answers don't matter as much.
Excuse me.
All right.
All right.
All right, first question. Weed, good or bad?
However you approach it.
Just a yes or no. Is it good or is it bad? It's a
Good.
quick fire. You got to
No.
choose one. Is it good or is it bad?
Is it good or bad? I would say how most people are and what the current weed is like is bad.
How's it for you, bro?
Yeah, for you.
Oh, for
Talk
me,
about more.
it's
So you
bad.
can use it however you want to use it.
Yeah, for me, it's
but
bad. I stopped using it.
It's bad?
Yeah.
Okay, man.
Good.
Good.
Why you unimpressed with my answer, bro? What's wrong with you?
No, I'm not. I'm just like,
said he
that was
didn't
pretty
care. He
obvious.
said he
It was
didn't
just
care
pretty
about our
obvious,
answers
All
already.
right, it's bad.
Yeah, all right. Tinctures or tea?
Tea.
A lie. Why?
Because it gets you connected to the actual herbs. Tinctures are helpful, but I like to have that connection with the plant instead of everything being processed. So if you have the tea, you can make a tincture from that. You know what I mean? But I prefer teas. It's an experience. Like everyone wants to sit down and take a quick tincture as opposed to, meditate, just relax and drink some tea. So
Nah, lie. After that answer, tea's the only answer.
I like the teas though. Still,
You have to
With
now.
a spliff?
You don't really have a
It's
choice.
A tincture and a slip is different.
Yeah. It's not even relaxing.
Zooking myself.
All right. Spring water or distilled water?
spring.
Spring.
A lie. Cuz?
If I say distilled, I'm wrong. Right? Nah, spring.
All right, final question. No kids or 23 kids for 22 baby mothers?
Real bad man.
Real
bad. 22 with 23?
Yeah, you got 23 kids with 22 baby mothers or no kids for the rest of your life. That's your choice.
Me?
I'm
Yeah,
doing
you got to choose
23,
one.
nigga.
How you living?
I'm going to say no kids.
No kids?
I'm doing 23, nigga.
Lie.
I might do 23 still.
Yeah, I'm populating the place still. 100%. There's going to be a lot more of me around, bro.
You just gotta spread them out geographically, you know?
Yeah.
Or not.
Nah, you don't want them meeting each other and like.
Bro,
getting
I don't know.
weird,
These
bro.
niggas don't do anything organized. You're just adding extra season. They just have them.
I'm gonna tell you how.
You're acting like you're
the
seeing
parts
all
of-
of them daily. Bro.
Just walking around.
This guy,
Yo, there's little boxes
some.
everywhere.
my youth.
I am your father.
Basically, yeah, bro. What are you talking about? Anything else on your agenda?
No, that was it. Still, that was it.
Dope. Any questions you'd like to ask them, Adam, or anything or any takeaways from your experience you'd like to speak on?
Well, let's talk about the womb talk in the womb.
Oh,
and
shit!
all
All right,
that
we
side
have
of
to do
things.
this effectively. All right, we can't. We're gonna do this effectively. All right. What about the womb? Do you want to talk about, Mr. Womb?
I want to talk about men and how we interact with women and women's health. Really.
All right, so make sure your body's clean. See?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that that's probably number one still.
Clean buddy.
Clean body, yeah. You don't want to fuck up no pH. Make sure that cause like you said, you're over there transmitting diet and shit, right? Make sure you're on your righteous vitals and things. See? Make sure you keep your body alkaline for the most part. And fuck, I don't know what else you're asking about the vitals.
Like for example,
Go ahead.
how do y'all, when you're with a girl, do you know her cycle when her period's gonna come? Have you ever thought?
I don't come in women
tracking
like
her
that.
cycle?
I'm not honestly. My shit.
If I fuck with you for a bit, yeah, I know your cycle. Like I gotta know your cycle.
I'll keep
I gotta
it
know
real.
what month. I gotta know what week we in. I gotta know if it's Shark Week.
Shark Week is a
Shark
crazy way
Week
to
is
address
crazy.
things.
I've never-
I like that though. That's funny.
I fuck with that.
That's why-
Before,
I saw
am I
some people
aware?
comment.
Yeah, because like, if I'm seeing someone consistently, buddy, it has to be every 4 weeks or every 28 days. Because realistically, like, we have a problem if it's not. Like, you didn't even get that this month.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm aware that the period happens, but like he's talking about, do I know? Like, can I
Honestly-
foreshadow? Like, like you're about to get your period because I'm aware of when your cycle is. Like,
Well, I think
I'm not. I haven't been that in tune personally.
I've been that in tune. I can say I've been that in tune before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any further speculations on this? Or are you talking about like do you be nutting in things when they're not on their egg type shit? I mean, when they're not fertile.
He didn't ask all that.
Well, even that's.
Well, I think that's where he was going with it. That's what I was
not
asking.
even necessarily just that, but that's one thing. Because I don't know about y'all, but they thought like you could get a girl pregnant the first time.
No, exactly.
But like we didn't even know that
So in, like, 1
she has
week?
to be in a certain phase of her cycle to even get pregnant.
Just gotta watch Maury.
So the thing about
So
that is,
how
I
does
don't
that
sorry.
work? I did have a question on that. Just we went
Okay,
through a whole
alright,
bunch
go
of
ahead.
shit. So it's like, can you narrow it down to like, I can shoot up the club confidently?
Like there are certain times where you can't confidently do it.
Word.
Now let me tell you
Right?
something. Let me tell you
I
something.
can
Like,
never
no.
confidently do it. Never.
Yeah, I'm about to tell you niggas, all right? Now, depending on the quality of your round, see? That confidence diminishes. Now, I'll put it like that. I've also heard that semen can last, it's a while in the vagina area. Nah, bro, it's more than that. I swear it can last more than 2 days.
No, like 5-7 days.
Yeah, it's like 5-7 days. I heard that it can just incubate and
Just
be chilling out
marinating
there.
there?
Especially if you got the swimmers, buddy. And then there's also, fam,
Swimmers.
there's so much like medical anomalies and things that happen in this world. You just shouldn't take the risk because there's things that I guarantee you, with all the people there's things that I've gotten pregnant on the period before. There's things that I've gotten pregnant from
Birth control.
times they
feel-
shit out on
Even
birth.
in
I
birth
feel like
control.
if that
IUD.
happened and it was probably meant to happen or some shit like that.
Nah,
It's probably
nah.
like a minority of situations.
It's like
All I'm
all
saying is
contraceptives
if
are
you
like
shoot up the
99%.
club,
yeah, that's
Expect-
the 0.001.
yeah,
right
buddy.
there,
Like, what do
know?
you think you're gonna get? You shot up the club. You thought you're getting a car? You might get some fat child support, bro.
But yo, the reason I think that this could work, and also like he's a more knowledgeable party. I don't really know. I'm asking him, but I feel like there's logic to it because you got to think like we only made contraception later in our existence as humans. People been having sex for a long
Nah,
time.
they been
You
had the
think they were
sheepskin condoms and
reproducing?
shit, bro. I swear to God, they been had the sheepskin condoms from back in the day, bro.
I feel like
Vikings and shit.
Them niggas
even
was just
before
raw
that, you think it
dogging.
was like every time people had sex, it was pregnancy.
Nah, niggas
Like,
was using
had
neem,
to have
so-
had some kind of methods.
We were using neem as I know like that certain places they'll use certain herbs to either lower or rectify the chance of pregnancy. So like for example, neem oil, if it's applied topically to the vagina, I think it's after sex actually, it actually just goes in and kills the
sperm
semen,
cells.
right? Same thing where if a man were to ingest neem prior to engaging in sexual activity, it actually lowers the sperm count while not actually like fucking up the quality of the gun. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, he'll just be less potent. It'll still work.
Yeah. You're not shooting blanks, but there's not as much
I
pep.
think that's a better alternative than a vasectomy.
I mean, yo, if you want to take the risk,
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's a risk, but the thing is, a lot of men are just taking risks.
a lot of niggas
You know
is
what I mean?
irresponsible. They're not even taking risks.
A lot of irresponsible.
Yeah,
You know
but
what
yo,
I mean?
women too. Kid, you understand? Kid, do you not understand how crazy?
I talk to men,
Yeah,
like, really.
men too. But nigga,
I
you
talk
sell
to
things
men.
for the wombs. I can't even buy these things and use it for my womb. See, I don't have one of those. But I will say though, fam, it's like even the concept of like a woman not knowing who the father of the child is. That's crazy to me, bro. I think people in general just need to fix up, bro.
You should know. You should know who's in
general.
your house.
You should know who you let inside your walls.
Without a doubt.
Right?
What I'm saying is like, because I'm pushing it on another level of like family and helping your woman. You know what I mean?
Okay, cool.
So
Hold
that's
on.
for me.
We're gonna read some stuff off of ChatGPT. You guys ready for this? All right, I'm gonna start. What is the rhythm method? Before contraception, the rhythm method was used. The rhythm method involves tracking a woman's menstrual cycle to predict the fertile days, typically around ovulation, and abstaining from intercourse using either precautions during the fertile window. Since ovulation usually occurs about 14 days before the next menstrual period, couples would avoid unprotected sex during the days when contraception was most likely to be used. Historical times. In ancient times, various cultures were aware of the pattern of fertility. For example, ancient Greeks and Egyptians had basic knowledge of the menstrual cycle and fertility timing. Through their methods, though their methods were not precise. Earlier 20th century, the rhythm method became more systematized after scientific studies in the 1920s and the 1930s, clarified by the timing of ovulation. It was promoted by some religious institutions, notably the Catholic Church, as a natural form of family planning. 1930s onward, the method was endorsed by the Catholic Church following the discovery of fertile periods by Dr. I can't even say that name, Ogino, and Herman Canas. Thus sometimes called I can't even say that word, bro. Effectiveness. Typical use failure rate around 13 to 20% per year, meaning it's significantly less effective than modern methods like hormonal birth control, IUDs, or condoms. Requires very regular menstrual cycles, careful tracking, and a strong adherence to timing. Otherwise, the risk of pregnancy is high. In short, the rhythm method was one of the earliest structured forms of family planning, but due to its relatively high failure rate, it has largely been supplanted by more reliable modern contraceptions. So basically, use at your own risk, eh? Shoot up the club if you dare. That's all I got from that. Does anybody have anything they want to say about the rhythm method or any things we spoke of?
I feel like if the two parties are super in tune with themselves, I feel like there's a pretty good chance you could do it successfully.
That's on the one side of things, right? On the other side of things is like if your woman's experiencing pain during her period. Because a lot of women are going through pain during their cycle.
Yeah.
Going through, like, if they have fibroids.
Question: how do you feel about intercourse during the period?
I'm not really with it.
I'm not with it either. I was just asking how niggas felt about it.
Yeah.
So look over here.
What does that mean?
I've dipped in a couple of times.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
So you're with it or you're not with it?
He's running red lights, bro.
You running red lights?
No.
Me neither. Does anybody have any final sentiments or final words they would
Running
like to
red
drop?
lights. I like that. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Does anybody have any final sentiments, bitch?
Nah, I think we talked about a lot. This is an enlightening episode. I think anybody who watched this that didn't have a lot of prior knowledge about health or even how to like get healthy, I think they got a pretty good foundation from this conversation, So I think that was dope.
Cuz?
I feel healthy already.
Cuz feels healthy by association. I like that.
Secondhand healthy right here.
Buddy, come on. Better than
Also, I did notice you brought something here.
Yeah, tell the people then what you brought. What'd you bring over here? What you got going on?
So
Give some words on that.
I brought this St. John's bush for y'all,
Wicked.
right? It's a womb healing herb, but I brought it for y'all to give to women in your life.
Oh, for sure.
Word.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like it's important that we bring up the conversation, or even we have would you ask a woman like,
So question.
would you want to use this one?
Is there any benefits to a man using this herb?
Yeah, like I love to use it. It's rich in iron,
Word.
right? So that's like just blood flow,
Yeah,
getting energy to the muscles. So I love that. And then it's also good for your skin.
Need
as
that.
well, inflammation, So I use it too. But I brought this, y'all.
We appreciate that.
Bring it to a woman in your life, Because me
appreciate
personally, I'm in the current stage where because we have all this like where we're gonna go like men versus women and like kind of like the culture, gender wars, you know what I mean? But I want it to bring to this place where men are helping women heal and women are helping men heal. Let's normalize that.
Do you feel like
That's
women?
positive.
I was about to say that's positive, but do you feel like women help men heal?
They can.
Like on average, like I don't know, like our men are
Cuz
like,
hasn't
Yo,
been healed. Cuz hasn't been
have
healed.
a moment, bro. Yo, bro, the man's like, yo, let's come together. But yo, should we though?
my fault. I'm podcasting.
Why
My
cuz
fault.
hasn't seen that woman yet?
That's the thing is like
No, but you have to understand there's stigmas behind it because yo, fam, a lot of people aren't comfortable even being vulnerable in the presence of a woman.
that's so
But
there's
you know
levels
what?
to it.
Okay, all right. I know you asked the man the question, but I'm gonna just jump in real quick.
Hop in, bro.
See? So yo, I feel like there's probably a lot of women that are not helping men heal. You know what I mean? It's not really the popular narrative right now. But we don't have to jump on the popular narrative. We can create the narrative. You see what I'm saying? So you know what? It is a good idea to bring something positive for the female audience onto the show because this is a male-dominated show and space. So at least we got something for the Gatham right here.
Gatham, I
And
love you.
We can extend that.
And we care about your womb too.
And a lot of
Some
our
care more than
healing,
you.
like some of our healing as men too, is just to be able to want to help and help a woman heal too. You know, because some of us, you know, we're hurt or we don't even relate to women in a certain way, but that's gonna open us up and expand our consciousness and our ability to, you know, connect with women as well and connect with ourselves. You know what I mean? Because a lot of that lack of ability to connect with women is a denial of ourself. You know what I mean? So
Valid.
we have that lack of connection to self. So, you know, that's something I'm trying to bring forward, you know, and it's going to make our lives easier too, because we like to go down a path where we make our lives more challenging just because we don't want to do certain things. But like, if you're a man and you have a woman who has a painful period, right? And you just give her this tea, right? And get her to drink it. You make it for like a couple times a week. And then during her cycle is going to be easier. Then, you know, a lot of men are complaining about, you know, the moods of their women during their period. So instead of complaining, just do something about it.
Help your
You know
guy.
what I mean?
You know,
And-
that's a good point too, because even there's always these conversations about leadership and a man's supposed to be the head of the situation and stuff. Like, if you could provide some form of relief to your woman's problem, that immediately puts you in that kind of position. And
Yeah.
They're leading.
it don't cost you a whole lot of money.
We could
It's a
drink this
little bit-
together, babes.
Yeah, it's,
You know what I mean?
it's a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of initiative. Like, hey, you're going through something. I came across something that could help you. So boom,
It helps
here, like,
us.
I'm doing this for you.
Help
And
me.
this
Help
is
me.
gonna
helps
get
us.
this is gonna get toxic at some point, just like the horoscope. I don't know if y'all saw the horoscope thing where it's like I only text her at 4:44 and 2:22.
Angel number. Angel
she's
number.
gonna think it's divine. You know what I mean? Man gonna be like, I'm gonna help her heal her period. I'm gonna help her heal her cycle,
Bro.
so she think it's divine alignment. So it's gonna get toxic at some point. You know what I mean?
Yo, I like how this nigga thinks,
Nah,
bro.
he just put
What the hell? The man
He just
said,
put the
bro.
idea out there. The man weren't even thinking
It's
that
gonna
yet.
get toxic
There's
at some point.
definitely
You know
gonna
what I
be a
mean?
wolf in sheep's clothing with his wooden beads on, okay, and his
Yo.
incense and some of these.
You know what
it's
I mean?
gonna happen. But yo, we're not here to represent those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, we're not. I'm just saying.
If you go to his
just
crib and he got beads hanging from the
be
kitchen,
mindful, you know.
be mindful.
So y'all were trying to categorize me with the beans, huh?
No, we're just
Y'all
trying to source
see,
it
like,
out.
I don't know. You look like you might dabble in some beads and some cannabis.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. But I give thanks, y'all.
Beautiful thing. It was a pleasure having you on the show. I was gonna ask you just for the audience at home, what can they expect from you for the rest of the year?
Rest of the year,
Any plans,
gonna-
projects, any things to look out for?
I'm gonna be traveling. You know, I love to travel. I'm gonna be going to Thailand, going to the Caribbean, going around Asia, just eating a bunch of fruits, and just continue sharing this healing content and this healing energy. You know what I mean?
Are you
because I
bringing-
feel like we need
Sorry, go
more.
I agree.
Yeah.
We need more love. We need more healing. And like I was just saying, like Diddy ruined love, man. Like, he
Oh,
ruined
no,
love.
that's
He-
brother love.
he
I don't think
started
he
to say
ruined it.
love.
He had too much
You know what I
love.
mean?
You know
He
what I'm
started to
saying?
say love, love. I'm like,
He's sharing
dang.
too
The man's
much.
name
You know
is
what I
Brother
mean?
Love. There's nothing lovely about this case.
I was like,
bro.
damn.
It's treacherous.
But like, you know, just spread more love out into the world, really and truly. So I'm going to Thailand, traveling, and just continue with the business with my e-commerce store,
Wicked.
and just a little couple more products that we have coming forward, and that's really it, man. Just spreading this love.
Spread love, not baby oil.
Yeah, that was wild. So it's hard for me to
Yeah,
follow.
you're on a roll today, fam. You're
For
on
you
a
to
roll.
say something like that and then point at me, it's like, well,
What do I say? You nothing.
but yeah, shit. I think I pretty much wrapped it
That
up.
wraps it up?
I
Alright.
gave my feelings on the conversation, so I guess
With that
everybody
being
can just
said-
give up their handles.
Yeah, I'm about to do the wrap up. With that being said, it's your boy X, RPMX, and everything social.
Castro Nero 88 on Instagram.
Money Midge 54X Mitch on Instagram.
Akeem, Rich Soul Foods for that high grade healing. Let's get it.
Boom, and we're on Common Sense. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell at the top for notifications every time we drop, and follow us on wherever you consume your podcast content. Apple Music, Spotify, we on all of it. Peace.
Yes, sir.